Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, God King of All Realms. Start by summoning angels. Chapter 81. In the territory, holy radiance permeated. In every corner, there was a strong presence of divine and luminous magic. The radiance from the watchtower was overshadowed. At this moment, in the central square of the territory, hundreds of beautiful angels gathered together. Their hands crossed and placed on their chests, their expressions on their beautiful cheeks were solemn and devout. A low chant emerged from the lips of the angels. They were praying to the great Lord of Holy Light. Not only the angels, but also the goblins and grey dwarves who were eating, all knelt on the ground and prayed together with the angels. The changes happening in the territory were nothing short of a miracle for the goblins and grey dwarves. They could only express their inner shock through sincere prayers, and their even more fervent belief in the Overlord. It was a long time after the changes in the territory ended that the goblin and grey dwarf believers slowly finished their prayers. However, the fanaticism and reverence in their expressions remained undiminished. Praise the highest holy light. The great Lord of Holy Light has shown us a miracle with his supreme divine power. The territory has expanded, and our influence has become stronger. I believe that under the protection of the Lord of Holy Light, we can follow in the footsteps of the holy messengers and conquer this world. Where the light shines, it is the territory of the Lord of Holy Light. The unwavering faith in the Lord will bring glory to our goblin tribe. The glory of reviving the tribe. The goblins and grey dwarves in the territory were extremely excited. This miracle made their belief in Lin Yu even more fervent. Hall of the Overlord. Lin Yu took a deep breath and communicated with Myriad Worlds floating island with his mind, once again opening a summoning black hole. A few minutes ago, he summoned a fully equipped angel squadron. This was because according to the summoning ratio provided by Myriad Worlds floating island, it was necessary to gather 10 angel squadrons to form a small angel army in order to summon a 6-winged angel. Now, 10 angel squadrons had been gathered. Naturally, he summoned the 6-winged angel as soon as possible. It was strange that whether it was this summoning or the summoning of the angel squadron just now, Lin Yu did not feel that sense of being watched again. Of course, this was not important. Lin Yu didn't think much about it either, because he had more important things to do now. His eyes stared without blinking at the summoning black hole, anticipating the arrival of his first 6-winged angel. It had to be said that the price of a 6-winged angel was really expensive, requiring 1,000 gold coins to summon. 5 times more expensive than a 4-winged angel. 20 times more expensive than a 2-winged angel. It's expensive, there must be a reason for it. Just as Lin Yu muttered to himself, a bright light suddenly appeared in the black hole ahead. Soon, the light source rapidly grew larger, and the infinite darkness in the black hole seemed to be illuminated by that light source, revealing an incredibly strange scene. It was an extremely shocking visual experience. At least Lin Yu was captivated by it. His gaze never moved away from that point of light. Finally, she appeared, a tall figure, exquisitely delicate face with perfect proportions, golden shoulder-length hair, and holding a flaming angel sword. She descended through the air, with a powerful and holy aura. Behind her were 3 pairs of symmetrical, snow-white angel wings. Between her wings, there emanates an endless holy radiance, dazzling and captivating. This is a 6-winged angel. Judging from the equipment she wears, she is also a war-class angel under the command of the 12-winged throne angel, skilled in charging into battle. However, unlike other 2-winged angels and 4-winged angels, her angelic armor is platinum, occasionally shimmering with golden light. The angelic sword in her hand is covered in countless mysterious runes, and intense golden flames burn on it. This equipment surpasses any 2-winged angel and 4-winged angel. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. Thank you for summoning me. Approaching, the 6-winged angel of strength immediately bows to Lin Yu, grateful and reverent. At the same time, she solemnly says, I swear to use the angelic sword in my hand to slay all heretics who dare to blaspheme the holy radiance. Your glory will endure forever. Very good. Lin Yu can't suppress the smile on his face. The appearance of the 6-winged angel is enough to let him sleep well and have good dreams tonight. The holy radiance be with you. This is Lin Yu's response to the 6-winged angel of strength in front of him. When he says these words, he feels a bit like a charlatan. But then again, as the god of faith of the angelic race, his main duty is to spread his beliefs to the myriad worlds and gather followers. Isn't he the biggest charlatan? Then, Lin Yu opens the information panel of this six-winged angel to examine it. Six-winged angel of strength. Initial level. 9th level. Growth potential. Lower true god. Possesses battle techniques. Divine cross sword, holy light slash, divine shield, faith judgment. Introduction. The six-winged angel of strength under the command of the 12-winged throne angel possesses indomitable will, unwavering faith, and incredibly powerful combat strength. They are the true angelic divine race. The true angelic divine race. This is the evaluation of the floating island towards the six-winged angel of strength. Or it can be said that all six-winged angels are the true angelic divine race, because their growth potential is at the level of true God. Before ascending to godhood, the breakthrough of the realm of six-winged angels will not encounter any obstacles. As long as they continue to kill enemies and obtain a massive amount of origin energy, they can easily become gods. Compared to six-winged angels, the growth potential of two-winged angels and four-winged angels is only at the level of demigod. If they cannot achieve bloodline evolution, it will be difficult for two-winged angels and four-winged angels to become gods and remain at the level of demigod for a long time. That's why the floating island says that six-winged angels are the true angelic divine race. They can easily become gods. Initial level is 9th level. Stronger than apex level units with an initial level of 4th level, I don't know how much. Lin Yu raises his eyes and looks at the six-winged angel of strength in front of him, saying, with your status, I believe you can easily kill king-level powerhouses of other races. Facing Lin Yu, the six-winged angel of strength keeps her head slightly lowered, with a solemn expression. Her bright pupils are a simple golden color, giving a very noble feeling. Her face is exceptionally beautiful, with flawless fair skin, plump lips, long and curved eyelashes. With her head slightly lowered, her face appears more three-dimensional. Below that is a pointed chin and a slender neck. Further down, there is a round, full, and upright figure. Overall, her figure is tall and curvaceous. Just like all other angels, her appearance is perfect without any flaws. But if you add the six angelic wings behind her, her beauty becomes even more stunning, unmatched by other two-winged angels and four-winged angels. Lord of Holy Light, please rest assured. The six-winged angel of strength says with utmost respect, firm faith is my sword. In the face of king-level heretics, I can slay them with a single sword. Very good. Lin Yu becomes even happier. After thinking for a moment, he says to the six-winged angel of strength, from now on, your name is Rain, and I grant you the authority to command the angel legion of the territory. From now on, you are a legion commander. In fact, the six-winged angel of strength is not suitable to be the legion commander. Among the three orthodox factions of the angel race, the most suitable candidates for legion commanders are the seraphim, angel lords, and dominion angels. Unfortunately, Lin Yu does not currently possess a six-winged dominion angel. Therefore, for the time being, the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, will temporarily lead the angel legion of the territory. Once the six-winged dominion angel is summoned, Rain can become the right-hand man of the dominion angel and assist in managing the angel legion of the territory. Currently, Lin Yu already has 10 fully equipped angel squads under his command. In addition, there is a team of angels led by Ida and Sally. The total number of angels exceeds 500, enough to form a small-scale angel legion. From angel squads to angel legions, this is a qualitative breakthrough. Lin Yu has reason to believe that there are not many overlords on the island who possess legions. Even if there are, they would be low-level overlords or middle-level overlords. Recruiting low-level units and middle-level units is very cheap, with the former only requiring 5 gold coins and the latter only requiring 10 gold coins. With cheap recruitment prices, the expansion of the army naturally happens quickly. As for those high-level overlords and apex-level overlords, the probability of them having legions is very low. After all, they are not as wealthy as Lin Yu. Unless there are unexpected circumstances, Lin Yu is the first apex-level overlord to possess a fully equipped legion. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. To become a legion commander under your command is my honor. The six-winged angel of strength, Rain, said excitedly, I will do my best to clear all the heretics who refuse to bow their heads to the holy light. Lin Yu nodded with a smile. Then he said to Rain, "It's about time. Go, lead your legion to the world outside the territory and eliminate those evil undead creatures. This will be your first battle. After the nighttime war is over, lead the angel legion into the breeding area of entering spirit. That's a good place. There, you can recover your magic power faster and have a chance to help you achieve bloodline evolution and become higher-ranking angels." "Yes, my lord." The six-winged angel of strength, Rain, immediately obeyed respectfully. And she firmly remembered the orders of the Lord of Holy Light. Then, she left the Hall of the Overlord and gathered the various angel squads that had gathered in the territory square. With Rain's status as a six-winged angel, coupled with her position as a legion commander, she had enough authority to command the beautiful angels. Soon, hundreds of angels, led by the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, flew out of the territory in a mighty manner and headed straight for the undead monsters in the wilderness. At the same time, the goblins and grey dwarves in the territory also took action. They formed two goblin teams and a larger grey dwarf team, chasing after the warhorn of the Angel Legion, and rushed out of the territory. The war began in an instant. In a short moment, the outside world was filled with the sound of battle. Within hundreds of meters around Lin Yu's territory, there were intense battlefields everywhere. Looking around, there were dazzling rays of holy light blooming in patches. This shocking scene was completely incomparable to the first night battle a few days ago. Compared to that time, the overall strength of Lin Yu's territory has increased by more than 10 times. Not to mention the undead creatures of the middle and low levels on the battlefield. Even if the Skeleton King, Lane, appeared now, it would be killed by the angels. After all, the one commanding the Angel Legion is a six-winged angel at level 9. I need to change tomorrow's plan. Originally, Lin Yu's plan was to let the angel squads continue hunting monsters in the wilderness tomorrow. Until the highest level Ida and Sally both reached level 9, and then go to conquer the Skeleton King, Lane, and the two-headed demon tribe. But now, the situation has changed. Angelia suddenly revealed a blueprint for the Watchtower, not only upgrading Lin Yu's territory to a high-level village, but also summoning a six-winged angel. In terms of the combat power of the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, it is not a big problem to kill the Skeleton King, Lane, with one sword, or to slay the king-level chieftain of the double-headed demon tribe. We can summon a few dwarves later to ask them. See if their tribe knows where the burial place of the Skeleton King, Lane, is. If they know, we can directly open the Easter egg tomorrow. Otherwise, we will go raid the double-headed demon tribe. Without thinking further, Lin Yu continued to sort his spoils. First, there were gold coins. After summoning a fully equipped team of angels and the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, he still had over 2,200 gold coins. Then there were 17 pieces of equipment and 4 blueprints. Most of them were ordinary equipment, with only one piece being a supreme-grade equipment with special attributes, but it was only level 5 and far less valuable than the wind boots currently being auctioned. After taking a look at the information of this equipment, Lin Yu lost interest and put it up on the trading platform for auction. A level 5 supreme-grade equipment with ordinary special attributes would probably only be worth around 500 to 600 gold coins. As for the other ordinary equipment, Lin Yu temporarily stored them away. He planned to wait for the equipment from the blacksmith shop to be delivered later and then throw them all onto the trading platform for sale. The dozens of pieces of equipment he listed yesterday were snatched up by professionals in just a few seconds. If nothing unexpected happened, the same would happen today. Because the equipment market was far from saturated. Most combat professionals were still lacking equipment. The ordinary equipment that Lin Yu listed in bulk, although not cheap, was at least not unreasonably priced, so it was well liked by professionals. It must be said that this was a savvy equipment merchant. As long as he didn't become greedy, he would definitely make a lot of money and receive the gratitude of many buyers, which was truly a win-win situation. The last 4 blueprints were all for wooden houses. Among all the basic blueprints, the drop rate for the wooden house blueprint was the highest. So, Lin Yu was not disappointed. Moreover, he even obtained the Watchtower blueprint, so it was too much to ask for other special blueprints. The goddess of luck might even come down and hammer him. The auction for the wind boots is about to end. Later, when I list the ordinary equipment in bulk, I will earn several thousand gold coins. At my current rate of development, on average, I can gather a fully equipped team of angels in 2 days and then summon a 6-winged angel. Of course, it's also possible to be even faster. Once I have the middle-level blacksmith shop, it's not impossible to summon a small angel legion in a day. After enduring a few more days, I can upgrade my territory to a town. Lin Yu might even be able to directly summon an 8-winged angel. The initial level of the 6-winged angel is 9. The initial level of the 8-winged angel, wouldn't it be king level directly? In terms of the position of the 8-winged angel, it would probably have no problem directly killing enemies at the transcendent level. Then it would be the summoning of the 10-winged angel, 12-winged angel. The more he thought about it, the more excited Lin Yu became. He even felt that he was only 1 or 2 steps away from being invincible in the world. Hiss, calm down, calm down. Lin Yu quickly slapped his slightly flushed face. If he continued to indulge in unlimited fantasies like this, even if the goddess of luck came, she would probably give him a big slap. This was not a good idea. The burial ground. This is the territory of the Skeleton King, Lane. Located in a corner of the underground world. There is also an underground passage near the burial ground, and after passing through this passage to the surface world, Lin Yu's territory is not far away. Therefore, the Skeleton King, Lane, is very worried. If Lin Yu discovers this underground passage, his territory will definitely be exposed. When they first met, the Skeleton King, Lane, did not pay much attention to Lin Yu. But after last night's battle, the Skeleton King, Lane, deeply realized what terrifying growth speed means. It is therefore wary of Lin Yu, afraid that Lin Yu will come to the underground world to cause trouble for it. So, the first thing it did after returning to its territory was to dispatch a strong force to guard the underground passage. But it's not over yet. Tonight, the Skeleton King, Lane, led a group of high-level undead to seek help from the neighboring Dark Elf tribe. The location of the Dark Elf tribe is not far from the underground passage. Therefore, the Skeleton King, Lane, believes that those arrogant Dark Elves have an obligation to join forces with it to defend against the otherworldly overlord, Lin Yu. Compared to the surface world, the underground world has no day and night. The environment is always dim. However, the underground world is not completely dark. On the contrary, the illumination here is quite sufficient, and even ordinary people can see things around them with their vision. Because the underground world has countless things that emit light. Stones, insects, plants, and so on. Many things can emit light. There are also rivers of red magma flowing. These things provide enough light sources for the underground world, so it is not completely blind. After traveling for more than 10 kilometers, the Skeleton King, Lane, and the group of undead creatures finally arrived within the territory of the Dark Elf tribe. Before they could continue forward, arrows came whistling through the air. Swish, swish, swish. Dozens of arrows crossed hundreds of meters, as fast as lightning, and accurately shot towards the Skeleton King, Lane, and the others. The Skeleton King, Lane, reacted the fastest. Its huge body took 2 steps back. The Skeleton Knight standing beside it, on the other hand, stepped forward to meet the arrows, swinging his knight's spear repeatedly, shattering each and every one of the arrows. Stop, friendly Dark Elves, we mean no harm. On the other side, a skeleton mage wearing a decaying gray robe stepped forward, shaking his soul fire and mental power, shouting towards the dim area hundreds of meters away. After a long time, a group of figures emerged from behind obstacles. They were all wearing tight leather armor, revealing smooth jade arms and slender, shiny white legs. Each of them had a tall and well-proportioned figure. Their faces were also extremely beautiful. It is worth noting that they had pointed, elf-like ears, which are the symbol of the elven race. But unlike other elves, their eyes were dark red. Between their lips, 2 symmetrical fangs would occasionally be revealed. Although their fangs were not as exaggerated as those of vampires, they were sharper and more pointed than normal canine teeth. This appearance was a perfect template for evil creatures. And these figures were the Dark Elves that the Skeleton King, Lane, wanted to find. There were a total of more than a dozen of them. They appeared about 200 meters away, each holding weapons such as bows and swords, vigilantly watching the Skeleton King, Lane, and the group of undead creatures. At this moment, a dark elf with a slender waist walked out, smiling mockingly, evil undead creatures appearing here, claiming that they mean no harm. Such an exaggerated lie is even more unbelievable than the fact that the goddess of light and the goddess of darkness are sisters. According to ancient legends, the goddess of light and the goddess of darkness were sisters. But no one has ever believed it. But this is the truth. Dark elves, bring your tribe leader here. The skeleton king, Lane, shook his mental power, expressing the purpose of his visit. I have important matters to discuss with your tribe leader. Skeleton King Lane. Looking at the nearly 5-meter-tall massive body, the faces of the dark elves changed slightly. There was a hint of fear in their expressions. The skeleton king, Lane, was a king-level powerhouse, possessing formidable combat power no less than their tribe leader. At this moment, the dark elf smiled and said, "So it's the esteemed Lane, who rules the burial ground. I'm curious about what has guided your great presence here." "The power of another world." King Lich Ryan's brief response. The dark elf lightly covered her lips and giggled, saying, "Your Majesty Ryan, you really know how to scare people. What does it have to do with us underground creatures if those professionals from other worlds are on the surface world? But if your Majesty Ryan insists on meeting our tribal chief, then please come with us yourself." Quote. King Lich Ryan fell silent immediately. It is an undead, not an idiot. If it goes alone, those dark elves will definitely dismantle its bones one by one. And then hang its head up as decoration. For evil creatures, being untrustworthy is normal. King Lich Ryan said, "There is an overlord from another world on the surface world whose growth rate is terrifying. Soon, his strength may threaten us. Once he finds that underground passage and sends his territorial legion to invade, both of our territories will suffer." Upon hearing these words, the dark elf not only wasn't afraid, but instead threw a coquettish and flirtatious look. "Your Majesty Ryan speaks as if it's a serious matter, but I don't believe it." Quote. King Lich Ryan was speechless. After a long time, it vibrated its spiritual power and said, "Tell Doris that if she doesn't want to come see me, my burial ground will soon disappear from this area." The dark elf was stunned for a moment and said, "Is that overlord from another world really that powerful? Can he really destroy your territory?" "Of course not." The skeletal knight sitting on the back of the skeletal giant bear explained, "What His Majesty means is that we have already prepared to move at any time." Upon hearing this, all the dark elves were stunned. And they all looked at the skeletal King Lich Ryan with a ghostly expression. King Lich Ryan also twitched the corners of its mouth under the helmet. However, it did not continue the topic of moving, but directly informed these dark elves that it would only wait here for their tribal chief, Doris, for an hour. Seeing this, the dark elves looked at each other. Most of their enchanting and delicate faces showed a solemn expression. They analyzed that what King Lich Ryan said was mostly true. After a brief discussion, several dark elves quickly left the group and ran towards the tribe in the rear. After about half an hour, a group of fully armed dark elves appeared here, all wearing tight-fitting, ultra-short leather armor. At first glance, all you could see were long, white legs. Leading the way was a dark elf wearing a hot inner garment and a sheer black skirt. Her face was delicate and beautiful, with heavy makeup. Her skin was tender and fair, with a well-endowed figure and exaggerated proportions. She walked in high-heeled boots with a cat-like stride. With each step, a shiny leg emerged from under her sheer skirt, exuding a seductive and charming allure. "My dear Lord Ryan, I heard you wanted to see me." Dark elf Doris flirtatiously raised her eyes and looked at the massive skeletal king, Ryan. Her voice was sweet, gentle, and lingering, like a silk thread scratching the ear, making people feel weak and powerless. Unfortunately, she was facing a group of undead creatures who had long lost interest in low-level amusement. Skeletal King Ryan didn't waste any words. He explained the cause and effect, and then mentioned the plan for an alliance. After listening, Doris, with a seductive gaze, said, "Of course, it is my honor to cooperate with Lord Ryan. I am willing to form an alliance and fight against that otherworldly overlord." Skeletal King Ryan was a little stunned. He didn't expect things to be so simple. Indeed, he still had some face left. After discussing with Dark Elf Doris for a while, Skeletal King Ryan led the group of undead creatures and left. This was how he operated, swift and decisive. Far away, a skeletal mage asked, "My lord, Since Dark Elf Doris agreed so readily, could there be some conspiracy? Skeletal King Ryan waved his hand. Don't worry, everything is under my control. By then, we will surely make the Dark Elf tribe and the legion of that otherworldly overlord suffer a crushing defeat. Our lord is wise, the undead creatures praised. On the other side, a Dark Elf asked, Great Chief, when Skeletal King Ryan approached us for cooperation, could there be some conspiracy? Dark Elf Doris smiled seductively and said, What's there to fear? When that otherworldly overlord appears, we will lead him to the burial ground and let him fight to the death with Skeletal King Ryan. We only need to step in at the end and clean up the mess. Our great chief is wise. The group of dark elves praised. The leaders of these two evil forces were both harboring ulterior motives. This is Lin Yu speaking. He had no idea that he had scared the Skeleton King, Ryan. Not only did he dispatch heavy troops to block the underground passage, but he also went to form an alliance with Chief Doris of the Dark Elf tribe to counter his covenant. If he knew, he would give himself a thumbs up. After all, the Skeleton King, Ryan, is a well-known king-level powerhouse in this area. The goblin and dwarf followers in his territory have all heard of the Skeleton King's name. The Butcher Walking in the Dark is the nickname given to the Skeleton King, Ryan, by the surface intelligent creatures in this area, including the people of the two-headed demon tribe. The two-headed demon tribe also fears the reputation of the Skeleton King, Ryan. They dare not easily appear near the entrance of the underground passage. But this local powerhouse was actually intimidated by Lin Yu. This is something to be proud of. After Six-Winged Angel of Strength, Rain, led the Angel Legion out for a hunt. Lin Yu was not idle either. He first used up several cottage blueprints in his hand and built dozens of cottages at once, all of which were upgraded to the middle level. With this, the number of cottages in his territory reached nearly 200. 200 cottages, 6,000 living spaces. And he only has about 3,000 subjects under his command, including the angels. They can easily move in. In a short period of time, Lin Yu doesn't have to worry about the housing problem for his subjects. After building the cottages, Lin Yu returned to the Hall of the Overlord, eating the dinner prepared by Four-Winged Grand Angel, Elena, while putting his equipment on the shelves. The equipment from the blacksmith shop has been delivered. In a whole day, with the efforts of the old goblin, Devon, and 2 goblin blacksmiths, the blacksmith shop produced nearly 70 pieces of equipment. That's 5% more than yesterday. And among these nearly 70 pieces of equipment, there are 2 supreme-grade equipment with special effect attributes. This was a surprise for Lin Yu. After all, the probability of supreme-grade equipment appearing is only 4%. 1% comes from the low-level blacksmith shop. 3% comes from the middle-level blacksmith, the old goblin, Devon. With only a 4% chance, being able to obtain 2 pieces of supreme-grade equipment is considered very lucky. The level of the 2 supreme-grade equipment is both level 3. Although the special effect attributes are average, they can easily be sold for 200 to 300 gold coins each. The price of level 3 ordinary equipment is 100 gold coins. The price of supreme-grade equipment of the same level can easily be doubled. After all, having an additional special effect attribute is basically equivalent to wearing an extra piece of equipment. Although the price is a bit higher, it can greatly increase combat power. For combat professionals, gold coins are far less important than equipment. They are even willing to give up everything to have a suitable supreme-grade equipment. In less than 5 minutes, a total of more than 80 pieces of equipment were all put on the shelves of the island trading platform by Lin Yu. And the combat professionals who had been waiting on the trading platform quickly snatched up all these equipment. Basically, as soon as Lin Yu put a batch of equipment on the shelves, they were all sold out in the next second. When all the equipment was put on the shelves and the trading platform was refreshed, not a single piece of the 80+ equipment was left. Don't doubt it, combat professionals at this stage are so crazy. Because among the tens of millions of combat professionals on the island, many are still wearing the novice equipment given by the floating island. Professionals with 1 or 2 pieces of equipment are very rare. At this stage, the demand for equipment by professionals far exceeds the supply. Furthermore, the equipment sold by Lin Yu is mostly of level 2 or 3, which perfectly matches the current level of the professionals. The most crucial point is that the prices are cheap. Compared to those greedy merchants, Lin Yu can be considered kind-hearted. Naturally, the equipment he puts up for sale is quickly snatched up by countless professionals. If you're even a little slow, you won't even see a trace of the equipment. After a short frenzy of grabbing, a large number of professionals quickly flooded into the neighboring island chat channel, all mentioning Lin Yu, strongly urging Lin Yu to sell more equipment. Selling less than 100 pieces of equipment a day is too little. Indeed, it should be tens of thousands of pieces. Tens of thousands of pieces of equipment, that's too exaggerated. Even if Lin Yu's blacksmith shop reaches high level, it's impossible to produce tens of thousands of pieces of equipment in a day, at most a few thousand. A few thousand pieces of equipment a day is already good. With so much equipment, I at least have a chance to grab some. Unlike now, less than 100 pieces of equipment, but there are millions, tens of millions of people fighting for them, and they're gone in the blink of an eye. Appealing to Lin Yu, quickly upgrade the level of the blacksmith shop. Even if it can't reach high level, it should at least be a middle-level blacksmith shop. I heard that as long as there are enough blacksmiths, a middle-level blacksmith shop can produce a maximum of 1,000 pieces of equipment in a day. Selling one piece of equipment for 100 gold coins, 1,000 pieces of equipment is 100,000 gold coins. Earning 100,000 in a day. Isn't Lin Yu tempted? With so much money, even the undead would come to help Lin Yu with the forge. For a while, countless combat professionals in the channel were urging Lin Yu to upgrade the blacksmith shop. For them, the 100 or so pieces of equipment Lin Yu puts up for sale every day are really too few to grab. There are millions of combat professionals on the island. If they were to arm themselves completely, they would need at least 100 million pieces of equipment. A mere 100 or so pieces of equipment wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. Therefore, combat professionals are hoping that Lin Yu can upgrade the level of the blacksmith shop in order to produce more equipment to sell to them. After all, Lin Yu is considered kind-hearted, and the prices are not too high. Rather than being cheated by those greedy merchants, they would rather use the gold coins in their hands to fill Lin Yu's pockets. They don't want to buy equipment and end up being miserably cheated. Seeing the messages in the chat channel, the overlord professionals on the island were envious to the point of red eyes. They work hard all day long and can only earn a small amount of gold coins. On the other hand, even if Lin Yu doesn't do anything, the equipment he produces can be sold for several thousand, or even tens of thousands of gold coins. Where can they reason with that? But they have no choice. Who made Lin Yu the owner of a unique blacksmith shop on the island? This is an advantage. Seizing the advantage allows one to dominate. Apart from envy, they have no other way. At this rate of accumulating wealth, won't Lin Yu be able to form an apex-level army soon? Almost. Lin Yu already has at least 300 to 400 apex-level units. Wow, this development speed is simply abnormal. Stop being envious. Quickly upgrade your territory to middle level and build a blacksmith shop. Without a blacksmith shop, we can only watch Lin Yu make a fortune. By the way, even if we have a blacksmith shop, it's useless. To forge equipment, you need a blacksmith and equipment forging blueprints. All three conditions are necessary. I'm going to sleep. Just a pair of wind boots, sold for 3,460 gold coins. I wonder which profession has so much money. But I think it's unlikely to be an overlord profession. For an overlord profession, it would be better to use so many gold coins to recruit troops and expand the influence of their territory. So, it's not surprising that the person who bought the wind boots is a combat profession. But Lin Yu didn't think much about it and continued to count his other earnings. 2 level 3 supreme grade equipment, sold for 580 gold coins. The remaining 81 ordinary equipment, mostly level 2 and 3, with a few higher level equipment obtained during hunting. These equipment sold for a total of 12,790 gold coins. Adding the over 2,400 gold coins I had before, I now have a total of 19,290 gold coins. This is an astonishing number. Lin Yu couldn't help but take a deep breath. Since arriving on the floating island, he has never had so many gold coins at once. Indeed, equipment merchants are one of the most profitable professions on the floating island. The only ones who can match the speed of making money with equipment merchants or potion merchants. However, potion merchants usually appear in the middle to late stages. After all, at this stage, most professions don't even have enough equipment for themselves, let alone the capital to buy one-time amplification potions. Moreover, the Alchemist's Guild, where potions can be formulated, is a high-level building. It won't appear in the low-level territories of overlord professions in the early stages, so there is no way to start formulating potions. While speaking, Lin Yu calculated again. Nearly 20,000 gold coins. It means I can directly summon 7 fully equipped angel squads, 352 winged angels, and 7 four-winged angels. At this moment, a brilliant smile appeared on Lin Yu's handsome face. I don't know if it's because of being close to the angels and often being influenced by their sacred and luminous magic, his appearance is gradually becoming more handsome. On the Blue Star, he would definitely be a handsome guy. There is a masculine charm in his beauty. His attractiveness is definitely not low. Of course, this is not very important. Recruiting 7 angel squads at once. Let Elena and Ida work a little harder day and night. I might really be able to form an angel legion in a day and summon a 6-winged angel in a day. Originally, this was just a goal Lin Yu fantasized about. But now, it seems that this goal is about to be achieved. Lin Yu calmed down his turbulent inner world a little, then communicated with Myriad World's floating island with his mind and opened the summoning black hole. Soon, countless dots of light appeared in the black hole. Each dot of light represents an angel. As the group of dots of light continued to enlarge, beautiful and holy figures appeared one after another in front of Lin Yu. After a while, the angels flew out of the black hole in groups. They were all fully armed. The standard silver battle armor. Burning angel swords. Pairs of snow-white angel wings radiating holy light. Each angel was flawless. Whether it was their appearance, figure, or temperament, there were no flaws to be found. In just a few seconds, 7 fully equipped angel squads appeared. They gathered in an orderly manner in the Hall of the Overlord. If it weren't for the fact that the territory had just upgraded to a high-level village, and the Hall of the Overlord had expanded accordingly, it might not have been able to accommodate so many angels. Greetings, Lord of Holy Light. Praise to the highest. May the Holy Lord be eternal, and the Holy Light be ever present. Hundreds of beautiful angels crossed their hands and placed them on their chests, bowing their heads to Lin Yu with utmost respect and piety. They all spoke in unison and their movements were uniform. The scene was quite shocking. However, speaking of which, when hundreds of angels gather together, even if they do nothing, the scene is still stunning and beautiful. Lin Yu smiled in response, then his gaze swept over the 7 four-winged angels who commanded the 7 angel squads. Among them, 5 are war-level 4-winged angels. And 2 are divine-level 4-winged grand angels. Lin Yu was very happy and immediately named the 2 newly born 4-winged grand angels Aisha and Anna. With Aisha, Anna, and Elena, he now has 3 4-winged grand angels who can unleash faith magic, making it easier to spread the faith. The faith magic will be cast down. Believe that even if the enemy is the dual-headed demon tribe, they will most likely kneel on the spot. Praise you, great Lord of Holy Light. 4-winged grand angels Aisha and Anna immediately saluted Lin Yu excitedly. To receive the bestowed names from the Lord is the greatest honor. Lin Yu nodded and said to them, 6-winged angel of strength Rain is currently leading the angel legion to battle against the undead creatures outside. You should join the battle too. Purify the undead creatures on the battlefield with the power of the holy light. Yes, my lord. Aisha and Anna immediately led their angel squads and left the Hall of the Overlord. The other 5 four-winged angels also left with their squads. It was a great regret for them not to receive the bestowed names. However, they would not envy Aisha and Anna, because they firmly believed that the Lord is fair and loving. As long as they work hard, break through themselves, and serve the great Lord of Holy Light, one day, the Lord's favor will fall upon them. As of now, I already have 17 fully equipped angel squads. With 3 more angel squads, I can summon another 6-winged angel and form the 2nd fully equipped angel legion. Lin Yu felt that, at his current rate of development, he could completely set a bigger goal. That is to look forward to the 8-winged angel. But before that, he needed to upgrade the territory to the town level in order to unlock the summoning permission for the 8-winged angel. Thinking of this, Lin Yu checked the information template of the territory. He needed to know the conditions for upgrading a high-level village to a town. Territory. Level. High-level village unnamed. Overlord. Lin Yu. Territory buildings. Hall of the Overlord, warehouse, blacksmith shop, watchtower. Spirit field level. Level 4. Prosperity. 9235. Next level. Town. Upgrade conditions. Condition 1. Prosperity reaches 10,000 incomplete. Condition 2. Possess a clinic, tavern, wall, and 10 high-level buildings incomplete. Condition 3. 10,000 units of wood, 10,000 units of stone, 10,000 units of iron ore complete. Looking at the information of the territory, Lin Yu couldn't help but mutter to himself, the requirement for prosperity is easy to meet. Just upgrade some wooden houses and arrow towers to high level, and I can reach 10,000 points of prosperity. I have a lot of basic resources reserved for the upgrade. The main issue is the second condition. The clinic, tavern, and wall. The wall is easy to handle. After upgrading the fence to high level, it can advance to a wall. In other words, I am only 2 steps away from upgrading to a town. Once I obtain the blueprints for the clinic and tavern, I can upgrade directly. Lin Yu was very calm and not in a hurry at all. Because there was a crucial factor in front of him. Once the territory is upgraded to a town, he will be completely unleashed. The beast tide and the invasion of the indigenous intelligent races could happen at any time. He will no longer be protected by the rules. So before that, he must plan carefully. Finishing up the tasks at hand, Lin Yu walked out of the Hall of the Overlord and arrived at the border of the territory. Looking through the wooden fence, he looked at the battlefield outside the territory. The battle at this moment was extremely intense. Bursts of dazzling holy light constantly bloomed on the battlefield. Countless brilliant sword lights crisscrossed. Almost every moment, a large number of undead creatures were killed by powerful angels. However, even so, the attack of the undead creatures remained unabated, and there was even a trend of escalating. In the darkness that the light of the watchtower couldn't reach, there were densely packed undead creatures constantly emerging, like waves of a tsunami, one after another. It felt as if no matter how many were killed, they couldn't be finished. This was a very terrifying situation. The army under Lin Yu's command was much stronger than 2 days ago. A total of 17 fully equipped angel squads, nearly 900 angels, 2 goblin teams, and an elite army of grey dwarves. Such astonishing strength was enough to shock and envy any overlord professional. But even so, they couldn't handle the undead creatures on the battlefield. It's not that the strength of the undead creatures was particularly strong. It was purely because there were too many undead. They couldn't be killed. It gave Lin Yu a feeling as if all these undead creatures were just cannon fodder. They were trying to use the advantage of numbers to wear down his army. However, on the other hand, cannon fodder was still cannon fodder. No matter how many there were, it was meaningless. Because Lin Yu's army was not like Shang Chu's army, who fought to the death. Once their energy was depleted, the army could immediately retreat to the territory without needing to fight to the death against the vast undead army. Now, the battle had just begun, and the energy of each team was still strong. They were crazily killing the undead creatures on the battlefield, harvesting a continuous stream of source energy. From time to time, golden light would emerge from certain angels. That was the sign of leveling up. In addition to angels, some goblins and grey dwarves on the battlefield also gained levels. Compared to angels, goblins and grey dwarves had very low growth potential. At most, they could reach level 9. The lowest was even only level 7. However, before reaching the limit of their growth potential, they could still level up. Sure enough, it's the same as the revelations on the Blue Star Professional Forum. After the local intelligent creatures join the Overlord Professional, they will transform into territory troops. Troops can obtain source energy. Speaking to himself, Lin Yu shifted his gaze to other areas of the battlefield. Finally, he locked onto a 6-winged angel of strength Rain. This beautiful 6-winged angel could be said to be the most dazzling star on the entire battlefield. He saw her raise the angel sword covered in countless mysterious runes and slash it towards a group of undead creatures 100 meters away. In an instant, a brilliant sword light exploded in that area. The group of undead creatures was instantly killed. Even their bodies were annihilated. Their souls were extinguished by the sword light in the first moment, and their undead bodies were purified into ashes by the holy and luminous magic power in the sword light. Not to mention intact bones. At a glance, there was only white dust left. Indeed, six-winged angels are truly strong. Lin Yu sighed. He could see clearly that in the area purified by rain, there were several high-level undead creatures. There were level 7 skeleton warriors and level 8 ghoul bosses. As a result, these undead creatures didn't even have time to scream before being instantly killed by six-winged angel of strength rain. Even their bodies didn't remain. It was as if a vast expanse of white land was left clean. Lin Yu muttered to himself, with Rain, this six-winged angel on the battlefield, there's really no need to worry about the sudden appearance of the Skeleton King Lane. 2 days ago, the powerful strength of the Skeleton King Lane frightened him. Now, 2 days later, he wished that the Skeleton King Lane would come and die. Only 2 days apart, Lin Yu had achieved the great goal of, don't underestimate a poor young man. It can be imagined how terrifying his speed of development was. It was precisely because he knew this that the Skeleton King Lane sought cooperation with those charming and seductive dark elves, joining forces to resist Lin Yu. Of course, if the Skeleton King knew about Lin Yu's current progress, he would probably restart his relocation plan. Late at night, Lin Yu yawned. He no longer paid attention to the battle outside his territory. He returned to the Hall of the Overlord and went straight to his bedroom on the 2nd floor. After reaching the level of a high-level village, his exclusive bedroom became slightly more exquisite, with a larger area and some immovable and indescribable murals and decorations on the walls. But the most important thing was the bed. It was big, white, and soft. Once he lay down, he didn't want to get up again. Lin Yu curled up in the blanket, brushing the island chat channel while muttering to himself, a whole day has passed, and my level has reached level 5, late stage. Another step, and I'll be level 6. I thought that at this level, the leveling speed would slow down. After all, each advancement requires a multiplied increase in primal energy. The higher the level, the slower the leveling speed. But I didn't expect that my level would still increase rapidly. This is directly related to my development speed. Last night, I only had 4 angel squads under my command, with just over 200 angels. But tonight, the number of angel squads has skyrocketed to 17, with nearly 900 angels. In addition, there is also a sizable elite team of grey dwarves. Naturally, my leveling speed hasn't slowed down. If nothing unexpected happens, I can level up to level 6 tomorrow. On average, 1 level per day. Lin Yu clicked his tongue. Once his leveling speed spread to the island chat channel, it would undoubtedly astonish countless professionals, including the overlords who possessed Apex-level units. Because even Apex-level overlords were currently only at level 3, much slower compared to Lin Yu. Around 3 in the morning, Lin Yu had already entered his dream. On the other hand, the battle outside his territory had just ended. The Goblin and Grey Dwarf teams that participated in the battle had long been unable to hold on and returned to the territory to rest early. Only the angel squads persisted until 2 o'clock before gradually withdrawing from the battlefield. Led by the 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, fully equipped angel squads entered the breeding area in the spirit field. As soon as they entered, the angels took a deep breath. A comfortable expression appeared on their beautiful faces. Such a rich primal force. This is a great place for prayer and cultivation. I feel that just praying here for an hour will completely restore the magic power I've consumed. Listening to the angels' discussions, Rain, the leader of the 6-winged angel of strength, said, "Our Lord has informed us that this place helps us achieve bloodline evolution and become higher-ranking angels. So, don't miss this precious opportunity." Yes, Legion Commander, praise the merciful Holy Lord. All the angels were extremely excited. There was not a single angel who didn't want to evolve, including Rain. Rain's dream was to advance to become a 12-winged throne angel. Afterwards, Rain approached a beautiful 4-winged angel and crossed his hands in front of his chest. "Angelia, Rain, what our Lord said is true." Angelia raised her golden eyes and scanned the boundless world, her voice cold as she said, "There is indeed a substance here that can help creatures achieve bloodline evolution. Unfortunately, it is restricted by the rules of the floating island. There is no way to forcefully collect it. While speaking, she glanced at Rain and continued, becoming a 12-winged throne angel is not easy, but you still have a chance. Go and pray. Grow diligently and don't disappoint our Lord. Okay, Angelia. Rain immediately left with joy. Angelia slightly closed her eyes and sensed the evolutionary substance floating in the world. She did not deceive Rain. This substance could not be forcibly collected, but it could be incorporated into her own body through a special method. Gradually, a sacred radiance emanated from her. As time passed, the radiance became dazzling and brilliant. After an unknown period of time, a miraculous scene occurred. A pair of snow-white wings emerged from within Angelia's body and extended behind her like arms. She had evolved. The next morning, Lin Yu woke up. As he expected, he had a good dream last night. As for what he dreamt, it's not convenient to elaborate. Under the attentive service of four-winged Grand Angel Elena, Lin Yu dressed and washed up, and then finished the breakfast carefully prepared by Elena before stepping out of the bedroom. It must be said that in terms of serving him, angels were much better than young female goblins. They were meticulous in everything, leaving no detail unattended, and he didn't need to worry about anything, plus they were pleasing to the eye. A new day. The first floor of the Hall of the Overlord was once again piled up with a large number of spoils. These were the gains from last night's battle. The number of gold coins alone exceeded 3,000. In addition, there were more than 20 pieces of equipment from the undead camp, as well as several blueprints. From this, it can be seen that in yesterday's battle, the Angel Legion must have killed a large number of undead creatures, at least tens of thousands. Lin Yu first checked the information on those blueprints. After a moment, a hint of disappointment appeared on his face. Because there were no blueprints for the clinic and tavern that he currently lacked. But thinking about it, it was normal. Clinic and tavern were both high-level buildings. The drop rate of their blueprints must be much lower than that of basic blueprints like Wooden House and Arrow Tower. It would be really difficult to get them in just one night battle. 3 blueprints for Wooden House, 1 blueprint for Fence. And finally, 1 blueprint for Warehouse. Looking at the warehouse blueprint emitting a faint golden light in his hand, Lin Yu muttered to himself, this is a good thing. At this stage, most overlords are unable to upgrade their territories to middle-level villages because they haven't obtained a warehouse blueprint. If nothing unexpected happens, this warehouse blueprint can be sold at a high price. The warehouse blueprint that Lin Yu sold before was auctioned off for a sky-high price of 4,800 gold coins. But that was for a special reason. At that time, many overlords, including the Golden Behemoth Overlord who won the warehouse blueprint, were competing to be the first to upgrade their territories and receive the reward. That's why such a high price appeared. Now, this warehouse blueprint definitely couldn't be sold for such a price. But selling it for 1,500 to 2,000 gold coins would be completely no problem. Without hesitation, Lin Yu immediately put the warehouse blueprint and the fence blueprint on the island's trading platform. The former for auction, and the latter for direct sale at 500 gold coins. Compared to the warehouse blueprint, the price of the fence blueprint was very low because its drop rate was relatively high. Last night, a total of 3,427 gold coins were obtained. I can directly summon a fully equipped angel squad. As he spoke, Lin Yu communicated with Myriad World's floating island with his mind and opened a summoning black hole. After a moment, an angel squad led by a 4-winged angel and consisting of 52 winged angels flew out of the black hole. With this, Lin Yu now had a total of 18 fully equipped angel squads. As long as he summoned 2 more angel squads, he could summon another 6-winged angel and then form the second fully equipped small angel legion. This goal would definitely be achieved today. I wonder what faction my second 6-winged angel will be. On Lin Yu's slightly handsome face, there was an expression of anticipation. He hoped it would be a commanding level 6-winged Dominion angel. Of course, it would be even better if he could summon a special angel that was different from the orthodox factions. Under the escort of Elena and the newly summoned angel squad, Lin Yu walked out of the Hall of the Overlord. On the territory square not far away, there were already densely packed figures gathered. At a glance, they were all beautiful and holy angels. Standing at the forefront were 2 dazzling 6-winged angels. Behind them stood more than a dozen four-winged angels, including Myrilda, Maureen, Maddie, Mela, and so on. At the back were the formations of the two-winged angel squad. Every 52 winged angels formed a group. There are a total of 17 arrays, which means 17 angel squads. Whether vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, they are all straight lines. Just by their appearance, you can tell that this is an elite legion. At this moment, Lin Yu's expression suddenly froze, and he looked again at the two six-winged angels standing at the front of the legion. He carefully confirmed that there were indeed two six wings. He wasn't seeing things. The two of them were not twins either. One of them was the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, whom he summoned yesterday. The other six-winged angel was Angelia. Lin Yu was both surprised and delighted. He didn't expect that overnight, Angelia, who was previously a four-winged angel, would evolve into a six-winged angel. This caught him off guard. At the same time, it made him feel like he had found a fortune on the ground. The summoning price for a six-winged angel was 5 times that of a four-winged angel, a whopping 1,000 gold coins. Angelia's evolution from 4 wings to 6 wings saved him a total of 800 gold coins, which was no different from finding money. Angelia, you've given me a surprise. Lin Yu walked over with a smile on his face. His gaze fell on Angelia's breathtakingly beautiful face. Perhaps because she evolved into a six-winged angel, Angelia now looked even more stunning and beautiful than the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, beside her. Praise the Lord. Angelia crossed her hands and placed them on her full chest. Her demeanor appeared both elegant and noble. She slightly lowered her head and respectfully bowed to Lin Yu, saying, "It is the Lord's favor that has given me the opportunity to achieve bloodline evolution." Lin Yu smiled and said, "Regardless, your evolution is something worth celebrating." As he spoke, he checked Angelia's information. Six-winged angel of strength, Angelia. Level: mid-9th level. Growth potential: lower true god. Possesses battle techniques: Holy Cross Sword, Holy Light Slash. Introduction: belongs to the orthodox faction of the angel race, 12-winged throne angel. Growth potential: lower true god. The same as Rain. But, Lin Yu looked up at Angelia, his expression astonished as he asked, "How did your level skyrocket to mid-9th level overnight? Is it related to bloodline evolution?" When he returned from hunting yesterday, Angelia was at the mid-8th level. After one night, she reached the mid-9th level, advancing by a significant realm, which surprised Lin Yu. Angelia respectfully said, "Reporting to my lord, bloodline evolution is a comprehensive improvement, including but not limited to growth potential, soul essence, physical qualities, and internal magic power. It is not easy for living beings to achieve bloodline evolution. It can even be said to be very difficult. However, once successful, the benefits obtained are also tremendous. After the battle last night, my level reached the late 8th stage. With the energy burst during bloodline evolution, my level easily reached the mid-9th stage." "I see." Lin Yu grinned. "So, once angels evolve, not only can they save him a large sum of gold coins, but they can also obtain a huge amount of origin energy for free and break through their own levels. The benefits are truly numerous." He hoped that all the more than 900 angels under his command would evolve. In this way, he could save a lot of gold coins, and at the same time, the levels of the angels would skyrocket. It's simply perfect. In fact, it wasn't just Angelia's level that increased. Lin Yu's own level also increased. While sleeping last night, he advanced from the late 5th stage to the early 6th stage. He didn't even wake up during the process. It truly embodied the saying, "Breakthroughs happen while you're asleep." Looking at the 3 pairs of snow-white wings behind Angelia, Lin Yu suddenly thought of a question. Angelia unexpectedly evolved to the level of a 6-winged angel. Can he still summon the second 6-winged angel he had prepared to summon? If not, wouldn't he be missing out on a spot for a 6-winged angel? Thinking of this, Lin Yu immediately communicated with Myriad World's floating island to inquire. After a moment, he received a reply from Myriad World's floating island. The self-evolving angel is not included in the summoning ratio plan. When the Overlord completes the formation of the second Angel Legion, he can still summon another 6-winged angel to serve as the commander of the Angel Legion. This reply made Lin Yu breathe a sigh of relief. He thought for a moment and said to Angelia, "Are you willing to become a Legion commander?" This is an option, not a command. Angelia also understood Lin Yu's meaning. So, she expressed her own wishes and respectfully said, Great Lord of Holy Light, compared to leading a legion, I prefer to hunt alone. My desire is to become the most powerful angel under your command and slay all heretical leaders for you. Sure enough, this answer did not surprise Lin Yu. Angelia seemed to be not enthusiastic about power. When she led the angel squad out for hunting yesterday, she flew freely and single-handedly killed multiple high-level monsters, raising her level from level 7 early stage to level 8 mid-stage. This time, Lin Yu gave her a choice between being a Legion commander and a free angel. She chose the latter without hesitation. That's fine. When I form the second angel legion, I can let the newly summoned six-winged angel take command. Lin Yu looked at the noble and elegant Angelia and said with a smile, Now, you are already the most powerful angel under my command. But I hope that in the future, you will still be the strongest. Praise you, the Supreme Lord. Your favor is the motivation for my progress. Facing Lin Yu, Angelia slightly lowered her head. The morning sun poured down on her, enveloping her in a radiant glow. The 3 pairs of snow-white wings behind her seemed to shimmer with golden light, incredibly stunning. A new day begins, Lin Yu said to Angelia and the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, standing in front of him. Last night, I found a few grey dwarfs to inquire and learned that there is a passage to the underground world less than 10 kilometers away from our territory. By transmigrating through that passage, you can find the burial place of the Skeleton King, Lane. Your next task is to capture the burial place. However, whether to first eliminate the two-headed demon tribe or directly attack the burial place, you two can discuss it yourselves. The task is not urgent. Safety is the top priority. Lin Yu didn't say much more and waved his hand to the 2 six-winged angels, set off immediately. I'll be waiting for good news from you in the territory. Yes, Great Lord of Holy Light. The 2 beautiful six-winged angels immediately respectfully obeyed the order. Then, they flapped their 6 wings behind them and flew straight into the sky. Immediately after, a group of 4-winged angels and nearly 1,000 two-winged angels flapped their wings, like a white torrent following behind the 2 six-winged angels, soaring into the sky. Majestic and awe-inspiring. No matter how many times Lin Yu saw it, he couldn't help but be amazed. Compared to them, the goblin and grey dwarf troops in the territory had no sense of presence at all. They rushed out of the territory like a group of bandits on a high. This is the difference between mythic level units and ordinary units. Just in terms of appearance and momentum, there is a huge difference. As the hunting team left, the territory seemed to become empty again. Only in a corner of the distant square, hundreds of ordinary goblin and grey dwarf believers gathered, diligently dissecting the corpses of monsters from the wilderness. Lin Yu first went to Lingtian. He looked at the growth of Lingmi and Haigu Shitang. In just one day, the Lingmi that was planted earlier had already grown in patches. At a glance, it was all lush green. In another 2 days or so, the Lingmi would be ready for harvest. As for the Haigu Shitang in the corner of the planting area, it had already grown to over 3 meters tall, with its main stem thickening and numerous branches and leaves growing. It seemed to sense Lin Yu's presence. The branches of the Haigu Shitang immediately began to sway. Thin branches extended like tentacles, gently touching Lin Yu's face. As if trying to please Lin Yu. Lin Yu was very satisfied with the growth of the Haigu Shitang and smiled, saying, Don't worry, soon you will be able to leave here. Of course, it would be even better if you could achieve bloodline evolution here like Angelia. Upon hearing this, the Haigu Shitang shook its branches more vigorously. It seemed to be indicating to Lin Yu that it would strive to grow in the direction of evolution. Lin Yu grinned and nodded, saying, Good, that's the spirit. He was not a druid and couldn't understand the language of plants. But as the master, he could vaguely understand what the Haigu Shitang was trying to express. It was a kind of magical telepathy. After chatting with the Haigu Shitang for a while and cultivating their relationship, Lin Yu finally left Lingtian and returned to his territory. He didn't need to worry about the food problem for the Haigu Shitang. Every day, the believers would gather and deliver a large amount of blood, bones from monster corpses, and inedible organs to the Haigu Shitang. It could eat from morning till night. It was precisely because of this crazy feeding that the Haigu Shitang's growth speed was so astonishing. If it were growing in the wild, would it receive such good treatment? After returning to his territory, Lin Yu first used up all 3 wooden house blueprints and then dealt with the 20-odd pieces of equipment from the undead camp. Ordinary equipment was sold. Supreme-grade equipment was put up for auction. There weren't many, and it was quickly taken care of. Then, Lin Yu opened the warehouse and glanced at the reserve of food. He was shocked when he saw it. In his warehouse, there were a whopping 330,000 units of food. This was a terrifying number. Any overlord professional would be stunned because their food reserves would at most be 5 digits, while Lin Yu's reserves reached an astonishing 6 digits. Among the various types of food in storage, the most abundant was beast meat, exceeding 250,000 units. Because in these past 2 days, the hunting team had killed a large number of wild monsters. In the tens of thousands. Every day, they could decompose a mountain of beast meat. Lin Yu had already put up a large batch for sale, and today it accumulated again. Without hesitation, he took out 200,000 units of beast meat from the warehouse, divided it into levels 1 to 9, and listed them on the island trading platform. Level 1 beast meat came from level 1 monsters. Level 2 beast meat came from level 2 monsters. All the way up to level 9 beast meat. Different levels, different prices. Although it was difficult to sell for gold coins, there was no problem exchanging them for basic resources like wood, stone, and iron ore. Especially the level 5 and above beast meat, which was highly sought after by professionals. Once these 200,000 units of beast meat are all sold, I can basically upgrade all the buildings in the territory, such as wooden houses and arrow towers, to high level. Lin Yu grinned. On the other side, the mighty Angel Legion had already arrived at the entrance of the underground passage. Your Excellency, this is the entrance to the underground passage. Through this passage, we can directly reach the underground world. This is a level 7 elite grey dwarf who has been conscripted, respectfully speaking to 6-winged angel of strength Rain. After exiting the underground passage, if you walk in the upper right direction for 20 kilometers, you will be able to see the burial ground. As the indigenous intelligent race of this area, they are also skilled in cave excavation. The Grey Dwarves are well informed about the information regarding the underground passage. They have even entered the underground world through the tunnels they dug themselves. However, due to the fact that the underground world is the stronghold of evil races and is filled with various dangers, they dare not venture into it easily. I understand. You may leave now. 6-winged angel of strength Rain waved his hand. After the elite grey dwarf retreated to a distance, Rain turned to Angelia, who was standing by his side, and asked, Angelia, in your opinion, should we eliminate the undead heretics in the underground world or attack the 2-headed demon tribe? In reality, for Rain, whether it was attacking the burial ground or assaulting the 2-headed demon tribe, there was no difference. It was just a matter of sooner or later. He was asking for Angelia's opinion in order to follow it. Angelia calmly replied, Our Lord is more interested in beheading the Skull King Lane. I understand. 6-winged angel of strength Rain nodded. Immediately, he called a team of elite grey dwarves and had them enter the underground passage to scout ahead. After a while, the fully equipped angels also entered the underground passage in an orderly manner. Unlike the surface world bathed in sunlight, the underground world has always been in a dim state. This scene has remained unchanged for countless ages. At this moment, at the other end of the underground passage, which is the exit of the passage, a dense crowd has gathered. Skeleton warriors, skeleton hunters, skeleton elites, ghouls, decaying zombies, and undead. And so on. They are all undead creatures. There are tens of thousands of them. This undead army is the heavy force used by the Skull King Lane to guard the underground passage. It can be said that they are a heavy force only in terms of numbers. Their overall strength is average. Because the levels of these undead creatures are generally only between level 2 and level 4. There are less than 500 undead elites at level 5 or level 6. And there are less than 20 high-level undead at level 7. Compared to the Goblin tribe and the Grey Dwarf tribe, the strength of this undead army is definitely much stronger. But compared to the current angel army, they are not worth mentioning. However, these underground undead seem to know very little about the situation on the surface world. Our king is too cautious. A mere human, how dare they intrude into the underground world? The underground world is the stronghold of our evil creatures. In addition to our undead, there are dark elves, spider-faced humans, one-eyed giants, evil-eyed demons. Even if a sacred domain powerhouse comes, they will die. After all, the enemy is an overlord from another world. It makes sense to be cautious. I'm not afraid of that so-called overlord. If he really appears in front of me, I guarantee I can kill him with one strike. Inside the camp of the undead army, a group of high-level undead communicate with each other through mental telepathy. One of the tall skeleton elites said, "Since the revival in the underground world, for decades, I haven't seen a human, especially a human from another world. The great sword in my hand is already eager. It needs the hot blood of humans to quench its thirst." It swung the rusty large cleaver on its shoulder. Beside it, a high-level skeleton hunter also nodded its white skull head and responded with vibrating spiritual power, "I also look forward to that human overlord appearing in front of me." The other undead creatures laughed raucously. It is evident that they completely disregard overlord of another world. But this is normal. These undead creatures from the burial grounds have been rampant in this area for decades. Even the powerful dual-headed demon tribe dare not provoke them. Not to mention a mere overlord of another world. After all, it has only been a few days since it arrived in this world. No matter how strong the power of the overlord from another world is, how much stronger can it be? If the Skeleton King, Lane, were here, he would surely give them a hard time. These underground undead creatures, who are ignorant of the speed of human development, have no idea how terrifying it is. At this moment, a ghoul boss suddenly raised its head and sniffed the air, saying, "I smell the scent of living beings, but it doesn't belong to humans, it's from that group of cave-dwelling dwarves." Cave-dwelling dwarves are the term used by a few intelligent races to refer to the Grey Dwarf clan. It is filled with insult and contempt. They're here. They came through the transmigration channel, and their levels are not low. The high-level undead immediately turned their gaze towards the underground passage exit. At the same time, they mentally commanded the undead legion that whenever an enemy figure appeared from the underground passage, they should immediately launch an attack. Receiving the command, the undead tightened their grip on their weapons. And the frontline undead began to gather towards the exit of the underground passage. After a while, the area near the exit of the passage suddenly became chaotic. It can be seen that a group of small figures forcefully rushed out of the passage and started fighting with the undead creatures guarding that area. These cave-dwelling dwarves, they have some guts, daring to forcefully enter the underground world. "Kill them," some high-level undead shouted in excitement. But at this moment, the ghoul boss suddenly transmitted a wave of shocked mental thoughts, saying, "Be careful. Behind that group of cave-dwelling dwarves, there are a large number of creatures from the Radiant camp. What astonishing radiance! It's even purer than the light of a bishop-level Radiant expert. Just in time. Kill all those Radiant creatures and let them know that this is the underground world, the forbidden land of light and order." Before this mental thought could settle, countless figures suddenly flew out of the distant passage exit. Each figure emitted a dazzling brilliance and a dazzling light. In an instant, holy light poured down, illuminating the entire passage exit. The nearby undead creatures hadn't even reacted yet and were directly purified into ashes. It was the Angel Legion. They had stormed in. Leading them was the six-winged angel of strength, Rain. Behind her were a dozen four-winged angels, as well as a vast two-winged angel legion. As soon as they appeared, the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, swung a huge sword light, sweeping away more than 100 undead creatures nearby. Following behind, the four-winged grand angels, Elena, Aisha, and Anna, waved their staffs in unison, smashing holy light spells towards the surrounding undead creatures. In an instant, the undead creatures perished in groups. Immediately after, the densely packed two-winged angels rushed into the undead legion like a torrent. But in just a few seconds, the undead legion's front line collapsed. Not because the undead legion was retreating, but because the angels' killing speed was too fast. A legion composed of tens of thousands of undead creatures instantly disintegrated by 1/3. They forcefully broke through the undead camp's collapse. What are these radiant creatures? Why are they so powerful in battle? Regardless of what creatures they are, kill them. Several straightforward high-level undead shouted and rushed forward. But as soon as they reached halfway, they were instantly obliterated by the descending Ida, Sally, Vina, Josie, and other level 8 angels. Seeing this scene, the remaining group of high-level undead turned their heads and ran in fear. They finally understood why His Majesty the Skeleton King feared that overlord from another world so much. Evil undead creatures. They should be purified more than heretics. 2 beautiful and holy figures flew like arrows, intercepting the group of fleeing high-level undead creatures. It was Iada and Sally. In the eyes of angels, heretics still had a chance of redemption. But undead creatures had no need for redemption at all. They wielded angelic swords burning with golden flames, single-handedly taking on dozens of high-level undead. At the same time, holy light fell from the void, enveloping them. It was the divine magic of 4-winged Grand Angel Elena, the shield of holy light, which could provide war-level angels with a highly powerful magical shield. Divine-level angels not only possessed great combat power themselves. They were also professional support. Holy light slash. Triple radiant slash. Swish, swish, swish. Dazzling sword lights cut through the darkness, instantly shattering the bodies of several high-level undead. Among them were 2 high-level undead of the skeleton race, whose powerful soul fires could have helped them resurrect even after their bodies were destroyed. However, before their soul fires could release their power, they were forcibly extinguished by the divine and radiant power contained in the sword lights. Their bodies were then burned to ashes by the angelic flames. Completely dead. Seeing this scene, the other high-level undead became even more terrified. The stumbling and decaying zombie leader let out a scream and ran away. The zombie overlord jumped several tens of meters high. The ghoul boss frantically waved its limbs covered in sharp spikes, running towards the distance like a frightened dog. Unfortunately, they were not faster than the angelic swords. With a dazzling sword light, the fastest-running ghoul boss was cut in half. The broken body and putrid entrails slid more than 10 meters away under the effect of inertia, creating a mess. Sally, who was chasing from behind, frowned slightly at the sight. With a wave of her hand, she turned it into ashes with an angelic flame. On the other side, Iada was fighting a mid-level 9 zombie overlord. The zombie overlord roared, waving its hands. It didn't have any weapons in its hands. But it had long nails that were several centimeters long. That was its killing weapon. With a swing, it could release gray lights that were as powerful as cutting through the hardest granite in the mountains. Bang, bang, bang. The dense gray lights struck the shield of holy light around Iada's body. But they only caused ripples. Iada's expression remained unchanged as she swung her angelic sword. Clang. With a shower of sparks, the zombie overlord hands, which were harder than gold and iron, were instantly severed. When they fell to the ground, they continued to roll and struggle. The enemy's strength was too strong. The zombie overlord opened its mouth and sprayed a thick poisonous mist at Iada. Then it took the opportunity to jump dozens of meters away, attempting to escape. You can't run. Iada flapped her snow-white angel wings and blew away the poisonous mist with a brilliant holy light, then quickly caught up with the fleeing zombie overlord. With a few slashes, the zombie overlord died on the spot. Afterwards, Iada continued to pursue other high-level undead. After several rounds of battle, Iada and Sally killed all the high-level undead, none of them escaped. After the battle, golden light emanated from the 2 of them. That was the phenomenon of leveling up. They had advanced. Their level had risen from late-stage level 8 to early-stage level 9. Their actual combat power could rival that of king-level experts. On the main battlefield, the angel army sealed off the entire battlefield area. Led by one 4-winged angel after another, nearly 1,000 2-winged angels were mercilessly slaughtering the undead creatures on the battlefield. The size of the undead army was visibly decreasing at a rapid pace. In less than half an hour, the presence of undead creatures on the battlefield was almost non-existent. At a glance, the ground was filled with pale skeletons and decaying corpses. The scene was horrifying, like hell itself. Lady Rain. A group of 4-winged angels came over to report, the battle is basically over, all the undead creatures have been slain, not one escaped. 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, nodded. In this battle, she didn't do much. She only casually killed some elite undead creatures. Basically, she left the undead creatures on the battlefield to be dealt with by other angels, in order to allow the angels to gain more primal energy and level up. Improving the overall strength of the Legion was also one of the main responsibilities of being the Legion commander. Spread the word, march towards the burial ground. As for the battlefield, leave it to the Grey Dwarves to clean up. Yes, Commander. Soon, the Angel Legion gathered once again. Led by six-winged Angel of Strength, Rain, they marched mightily towards the burial ground, 20 kilometers away. In the previous chapter, it was 2 kilometers, but it was written incorrectly and has been corrected. For the Angel Legion, this battle was just an appetizer. Attacking the burial ground was the main course. At the same time, in another direction, about 5 kilometers away, a large group of figures suddenly appeared, numbering in the thousands. At a glance, they were all pairs of long, white legs. This was a fully armed Dark Elf Legion, with a scale of 3,000. All the Dark Elves were equipped with black revealing leather armor and matching leather pants, and either wielded elven longswords or carried quivers and elven bows. A sense of temptation filled the air. Elder. There has been a large-scale battle at the exit of the underground passage. It's a collision between the forces of necromancy and the forces of light. It's highly likely that the Overlord from the other world has sent a legion to invade the surface world. A Dark Elf scout suddenly appeared in front of the legion and immediately reported to the Dark Elf Elder who commanded this legion. Upon hearing this, the Dark Elf Elder was stunned. She had a beautiful appearance and a mature and hot figure. The Overlord Legion from the other world has already rushed in so quickly. The Dark Elf Elder found it hard to believe. In fact, the speed of their Dark Elf tribe was already fast enough. Just last night, the chieftain of the tribe, Doris, had just formed a friendly cooperation alliance with the Skeleton King, Lane. Early this morning, the tribe gathered their legion and rushed towards this side of the underground passage. Their marching speed was indeed not slow. But what the Dark Elf Elder didn't expect was that the legion of the Overlord from the other world was even faster. Their legion hadn't even reached the destination yet, and they had already clashed with the undead legion guarding the passage. What is the strength of the enemy legion? It shouldn't be weak. The Dark Elf scout replied, there was a very strong fluctuation of light magic in that area. I didn't dare to approach it easily, so I came back to report to the Elder as soon as possible. The corners of the Dark Elf Elder's crimson lips curled up slightly. This is good news. The task given to us by the chieftain is to find a way to lead the Overlord Legion to the burial ground and let them fight the Skeleton King Lane to the death. Now it seems that we don't need to meddle in it anymore. Spread the word, march slowly, and let them fight to the death. Yes, Elder. It took the Dark Elf Legion a full hour to cover the distance of several kilometers. When they arrived, they only saw a group of elite Grey Dwarves cleaning up the battlefield. Cave Dwarves, shouldn't they be creatures from the forces of light? And why can't we see any other race's corpses on the battlefield besides the undead remains? The hot figure of the Dark Elf Elder stood on a high hill. She gazed at the chaotic battlefield in the distance. Her mature and charming cheeks were filled with doubt and confusion. Chapter 91. Have you clearly seen what the enemy looks like? The elder Dark Elf turned to the scout and asked. The Dark Elf scout replied, I was too far away to see clearly, but I could tell that they all have a pair of white wings, and some even have 2 pairs. Wings. Could it be the winged race? The elder Dark Elf furrowed his brows slightly and muttered to himself, but I've never heard of winged beings having 2 pairs of wings. 2 pairs of wings, could they be the rumored flower fairies? Elder, they are definitely not flower fairies. The Dark Elf scout quickly said, because they all possess extremely pure light power, and they can release a terrifying flame that can turn undead creatures into ashes. Flower fairies are a wise race of the natural faction. They belong to the same faction as the nature elves on the surface. The power they possess also belongs to the natural series. It is rare for flower fairies to possess light power, let alone so many special flower fairies. Most importantly, their appearance is different. In the eyes of the Dark Elf scout, the winged creatures on the battlefield resemble beings from the divine realm, incredibly holy and noble. When she saw those winged creatures, she even felt a sense of inferiority. Regardless of whether they are flower fairies or not. The elder Dark Elf said, the strength of the Surface Legion that can end the war in such a short time must be strong. Without any surprises, they must have already marched towards the burial ground. The Dark Elf scout asked, Elder, should we also rush over immediately? Of course, going now is the perfect time to clean up the mess. A triumphant smile appeared on the corner of the elder dark elf's mouth as he said, "It's better to come early than to come late." The clan leader is truly wise. Elder, what should we do about the underground dwarves who are cleaning up the battlefield? Should we kill them directly? The elder dark elf waved his hand and said, "Those underground dwarves must also be troops under that overlord from another world. Killing them will inevitably alert the enemy. Let's not pay attention to them. Order the army to go directly to the burial ground, that is the most important thing." "Yes, Elder." Soon, the dark elf army set off again. They changed direction and headed straight for the burial ground 20 kilometers away. This time, they did not deliberately slow down their marching speed. Because the enemy can fly. They are much faster than them. They must hurry to arrive, otherwise they won't be able to take advantage. In the burial ground, corpses were scattered everywhere. At a glance, within a radius of 1,000 meters, there were only dense white bones, a horrifying scene. There were 3 mountains here, each over 200 meters tall, 2 of which were purely composed of various creatures' skeletons. It is unknown how many living beings had died. The palace of the Skeleton King, Lane, was located in the central basin surrounded by the 3 mountains. The 3 mountains formed a Chinese character shape, and no matter which direction the enemy attacked from, they would have to pass through the middle passage between 2 of the mountains, making them extremely vulnerable to being flanked by the undead army. Once they entered the central basin, they might even be surrounded on 3 sides. This place can be described as easy to defend and difficult to attack. At this moment, in the center of the basin, inside the bone palace constructed from countless giant bones, Skeleton King Lane was sitting on the throne at the head of the palace. As an undead with eternal life, it had plenty of time. So it often sat on its exclusive throne and took a nap, and now was no exception. But just as Skeleton King Lane was sleeping comfortably, a white skeleton rushed into the palace, panicking and reporting, "Your Majesty, something terrible has happened. Our legion stationed in the underground passage has been wiped out. A scout discovered that the enemy is now heading towards our stronghold, and they can all fly." On the throne, Skeleton King Lane's gigantic body trembled violently. The ghostly green soul fire burned fiercely beneath the 2 dark eye sockets. The enemy not only arrived so quickly, but also wiped out one of its legions. The Skeleton King, Lane, was both shocked and angry. He punched from a distance, smashing the poor little white skeleton on the spot. Then, under its urgent command, the high-level undead in the Bone Palace gathered one after another. There were more than 30 of them, all of them level 9. This was a very powerful force. It was far beyond what the Goblin tribe and the Grey Dwarf tribe could compare to. At this moment, the high-level undead gathered in the Bone Palace also learned about the news of the annihilation of the frontline legion. Each and every one of them was angry and eager to fight the incoming enemy. Only the giant bear skeleton knight gave a different opinion, saying, "My king, should we run away? The enemy has already come and they can even fly. It's definitely too late to move. The fastest way to avoid the enemy is to pack up and run away." "Shut up," the Skeleton King, Lane, angrily said. "Immediately gather all the undead in the territory and annihilate the incoming enemy. If it were a few days later, it might really run away." Because the development speed of that overlord from another world was truly terrifying. But now it sent troops to kill. It felt that it could handle it. The night before yesterday, it had a very clear understanding of the strength of the Legion in that territory. It was simply a dream to think that it could conquer its bone palace with just that strength. Soon, countless undead appeared from the 3 bone mountains. Among them, the elite undead gathered in the basin. The elite undead legion was the main force and could directly confront the enemy legion. The ordinary undead on the 3 bone mountains could surround and attack the enemy from the flanks and rear. This was the Skeleton King, Lane's strategy to deal with the enemy. In less than 5 minutes, a legion of elite undead with a scale of tens of thousands had gathered in the basin. And there were over 100,000 ordinary undead on the 3 bone mountains. This was a full-scale mobilization. Mage, I have a bad feeling. In the camp of the main legion, the skeleton knight sitting on the back of the skeletal giant bear transmitted its spiritual thoughts to the nearby skeleton mage. Both of them were at the late stage of level 9 and had strong combat power. Especially the skeleton mage, who not only mastered the skill of resurrecting skeletons but was also the most trusted strategist of the Skeleton King, Lane. After receiving the spiritual thoughts from the skeleton knight, the skeleton mage rolled its eyes. This stupid bear knight, all it ever did was move and run away, without any sense of being an undead or heroic spirit. It felt that the Skeleton King was really too kind. If it were in its place, it would definitely hang this bear knight up and beat it. Don't worry. The skeleton mage tried to appease the giant bear skeleton knight and said, that overlord from another world is still too hasty. Even if his growth speed is fast, he cannot threaten our bone palace now. The goblin troops under his command are weak and can't withstand a single blow. Only those glowing winged people are worth fighting. But their numbers are too few. The total number of glowing winged people the night before yesterday was only about 200. How much can it increase in just one day? So, rest assured, in this war, our bone palace will definitely win. Is that so? But I still feel uneasy in my heart. The skeleton knight sat on the back of the skeletal giant bear, its green eyes gazing into the distance. It didn't know how much time had passed. Suddenly, a bright light appeared on the distant horizon. It seemed to illuminate the dark underworld. And within that light, there were nearly 1,000 holy angels, densely packed. Seeing this scene, the skeleton knight's mouth widened, and it transmitted a spiritual thought to the skeleton mage. Mage, I will never believe you again. Looking at the densely packed holy figures in the distant horizon, even the skeleton mage was dumbfounded. Just the night before yesterday, there were only about 200 angels. How did the number increase to nearly 1,000 in just one day? What kind of growth rate is this? Even the newly risen undead in their burial ground didn't increase this quickly. It's okay, it's okay. Just because their numbers have increased several times doesn't mean they can conquer our burial ground. Remember, our Majesty is a king-level powerhouse. Unless someone among them reaches level 9, it's impossible for them to defeat our Majesty. The skeleton mage tried to comfort the skeleton knight in itself. It knew how powerful the angels were, because it had witnessed it with its own eyes. They were a group of terrifying creatures that could fight beyond their level. But even so, level 8 couldn't directly challenge king level. So, there was still hope for their burial ground. A few minutes later, the holy sea of light rushed over, forcefully dispersing the dark clouds that shrouded the burial ground. Those dark clouds were formed by the dense necromantic energy, which was a great supplement for the creatures of the undead camp, but also a sign of undead calamity. However, at this moment, the necromantic cloud was dispersed. In its place was a brilliant holy light. Within the holy light was pure divine and radiant power, extremely unfriendly to undead creatures. It could be seen that on top of those 3 bone mountains, weak undead creatures were instantly purified, their souls turned into piles of bones scattered on the ground. Then, a rain of light formed by the holy light fell. Any undead creature on the ground that was hit by the light rain emitted black smoke, their bodies covered in small holes, as if corroded by strong sulfuric acid. And with the arrival of the light rain, a large number of low-level undead were purified. As soon as they met, the Angel Legion gave the burial ground a big blow, instantly killing countless low-level undead. And the 3 four-winged grand angels who were the instigators, Elena, Aisha, and Anna. They were all surrounded by golden light. Aisha and Anna were promoted to mid-level 8. Elena directly stepped into the early stage of level 9. With just 2 slaps, they made the 3 divine level angels earn a lot. I knew I shouldn't have trusted you. The skeleton knight looked at the Angel Legion gathering in the sky with a horrified expression, and said to the skeleton mage, there were clearly only 4 level 9 winged beings, no, now there are 5. The skeleton mage didn't respond, because it was a little scared now too. 5 level 9 radiant winged beings, each possessing terrifying power that could fight beyond their level. Could their skeleton king withstand them? It wasn't sure. If it had known earlier, it should have fully supported the foolish skeleton knight's plan to persuade the great skeleton king Ryan to flee. Now, the enemy legion was already right in front of them. They didn't even have a chance to run. Not far away, at the entrance of the Bone Palace, Skeleton King Ryan sat on the bone throne. Yes, it brought out its throne. Originally, it wanted to show off its kingly demeanor and weaken the morale of the enemy legion, but now it found that it couldn't stand up properly. Among the angel legion in the sky, it sensed two extremely powerful auras. Although they were both level 9, one level lower than itself as a king-level powerhouse, they brought a sense of fear as if the Grim Reaper had descended. Not to mention the skeleton mage. Even it regretted not listening to the skeleton knight's plan to move. It had to admit that the foolish skeleton knight was sometimes prone to being a jinx. After a moment, Skeleton King Ryan slowly stood up from the throne, holding two 3-meter-long great axes. When it was still a giant, its weapon was 2 giant hammers. After death, becoming an undead skeleton and taking the position of Skeleton King, it switched to 2 large axes. For so many years, countless lives have perished under its blade. Today, it intends to use them to defend its throne. Hundreds of meters in the sky. Nearly 1,000 angels gather here, overlooking the burial ground below. This is a safe distance. Even the Skeleton King, Lane, cannot launch an attack on the Angel Legion from this distance. After all, it cannot fly. The Skeleton Mage does possess a type of flying magic and can even take a few undead creatures with it into the sky, but it doesn't have the courage to do so. Even if it were willing, the other undead wouldn't dare. The sky is the domain of the angels. The strength of the undead here is not weak. The gaze of the 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, focuses on the elite undead legion gathered in the center of the basin below. Ranging from level 5 to level 8. With a scale exceeding 10,000. There are also over 30 level 9 undead creatures. At least on the surface, the strength of the burial ground far surpasses her angel legion. In terms of scale and level, it is not something the angel legion can compare to. Beside her, Angelia's expression is indifferent as she says, "Leave the Skeleton King, Lane, to me. You and Elena and the others deal with those level 9 undead. Gradually eliminate the remaining elite undead. How can lowly undead creatures stop the footsteps of our angel race? Obey the will of the crown." The 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, immediately bows respectfully. However, Angelia's cold gaze falls upon her and she says, "The great Lord of Holy Light has not yet condensed his divinity. You need to be mindful of your words and actions, especially in the presence of the Holy Lord. If anything happens to the Holy Lord, then you can fall on your own." "I understand, Angelia." The 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, nods quickly. Upon hearing the word, fall, from Angelia's mouth, a hint of paleness appears on Rain's beautiful cheeks. She dares not say more, takes a deep breath, calms her mind, and then issues the command for the Angel Legion to attack. In an instant, the angels flap their wings in unison, transforming into streaks of white light that directly charge into the center of the burial ground. Along the way, countless bone arrows and bone spikes fly towards them. But they are all completely destroyed by the powerful 4-winged angels. At the same time, the angels also unleash their combat skills, smashing dazzling swordlights and scorching angelic flames into the camp of the elite undead legion. Instantly, patches of elite undead disappear into thin air. On the other side, the 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, accompanied by the newly promoted 4-winged grand angel, Elena, as well as the 2-winged angel, Ida, and Sally, charge towards the group of high-level undead. Over 30 high-level undead, all level 9. Facing such formidable opponents, Rain and her companions show no fear. Especially Rain, as the 6-winged angel of strength, she displays extraordinary combat power, instantly killing 6 high-level undead with a single divine judgment. Truly unmatched battle prowess. The performance of the 4-winged grand angel, Elena, is also astonishing. While releasing holy light magic and enveloping the entire battlefield with angelic flames, she also uses holy light imprisonment to forcibly seal one high-level undead after another. Following closely behind, Ida and Sally each slay their opponents with a single sword strike, enjoying themselves greatly. The essence of the souls is still relatively pure. Unfortunately, it has been tainted by evil power. At the entrance of the Bone Palace, the elegant and noble 6-winged angel, Angelia, descends from the sky. Her gaze falls upon the Skeleton King, Lane, as if she can see through its soul. The Skeleton King, Lane, holds a 3-meter-long great axe in its hands and mocks, "Do you think you can deal with me alone?" Angelia calmly says, "Actually, I don't like killing, but now my power is weak, making it difficult to protect the glory of our Lord. It is an honor for you to die by my hand. Arrogant. The Skeleton King, Lane, swings the great axe in its hand, creating a piercing sound in the air. It coldly says, "Before I kill you, I want to know one thing. What exactly are you?" Angelia ignores the blade that brushes past her and says, "You can call us angels. We are the messengers of the divine and the light, representing the will of the Lord of Holy Light. We are conquerors walking in the myriad worlds of the universe." With Angelia's elegant tone, radiant holy light descends from the void, directly enveloping the Skeleton King, Lane. This holy light doesn't cause much damage to the Skeleton King, Lane. But soon, it realizes that it cannot move. Suddenly, a thought flashes through the mind of the Skeleton King, Lane. It was careless and didn't dodge. The Skeleton King, Lane, is now in a panic. It knows that Angelia is very powerful. When the Angel Legion just arrived above the burial ground, it felt a deadly threat from Angelia and another six-winged angel. It was a sense of impending death. Its instinct told it that once the two six-winged angels joined forces, it would undoubtedly die. But what it didn't expect was that even just Angelia alone was powerful enough to suppress it. Clearly only at the mid-9th level, she gave it the illusion of facing a sacred domain expert. Its own level is as high as king level late stage. And Angelia is able to immobilize it with just one move. What else could this be if not a sacred domain expert? At this moment, the Skeleton King, Lane, has a deeper understanding of what Angelia said earlier. The conqueror walking in the myriad worlds of the universe. Races with powerful bloodlines like angels, once they truly grow, will surely shake the myriad worlds of the universe. In the eyes of the Skeleton King, Lane, even dragons are far inferior to angels in terms of racial advantage. Because if a mid-9th level dragon were to appear in front of it, as a king level late stage expert, it would be able to cut the dragon in half with a single strike. After all, it is the Skeleton King. However, in the face of the beautiful angel in front of it, it feels a sense of powerless despair. At the entrance of the towering Bone Palace Gate, the Skeleton King, Lane, with a height of nearly 5 meters, is imprisoned in a cage of holy light and cannot move. It is unwilling. Its fate should not end like this. And as the king of the skeleton race, it feels that even if it dies, it should die with some dignity. Instead of being immobilized like it is now, without even giving it a chance to fight back. The Skeleton King, Lane, trembles with its spiritual consciousness and angrily gazes at the six-winged angel, Angelia, saying, "I respect you as a strong opponent. If you have the ability, release me first. I want to have a life and death battle with you." Angelia raises her golden eyes. Looking at the unwilling Skeleton King, Lane, with an indifferent expression, she says, "A lowly undead creature like you, what qualifications do you have to have a life and death battle with me?" After speaking, she swings her sword in the air, slashing out a sword light. Clang, accompanied by the clash of gold and iron, as well as dense flames. The black heavy armor worn by the Skeleton King, Lane, is instantly split in two. And what is also split in half is the body of the Skeleton King, Lane. The giant skeleton body, in the blink of an eye, turns into a pile of skeletal remains on the ground. A one-hit kill. However, Angelia does not leave. Her golden eyes gaze at the pile of bones on the ground, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. After a moment, under her gaze, the pile of skeletal remains begins to tremble. Within the bone pile, there is still a wisp of emerald green soul fire burning. That is the soul fire of the Skeleton King, Lane. Her sword strike just now had actually extinguished the soul fire of the Skeleton King, Lane. However, the Skeleton King, Lane, seems to possess a talent for resurrection. The completely extinguished soul fire stubbornly achieves a revival. A mere king-level skeleton, who hasn't even mastered a domain, can touch the source of the soul and achieve resurrection after death. Quite interesting. Angelia does not immediately deliver another strike. She continues to watch as the Skeleton King, Lane, reforms its body until it is completely restored. What a pity. She shakes her head. Dropped 2 levels, now at king level initial stage. It can't be considered a true perfect resurrection. The resurrected Skeleton King, Lane, then looks at Angelia with a terrified expression. Its massive skeleton body takes several steps back. The power of the holy light imprisonment disappeared after its death. Now, it has regained its freedom, but there is no excitement, instead, there is more fear. What a terrifying sword. With one slash, it instantly lost a life. If it weren't for its innate talent of resurrection, it would have been finished just now. Looking at Angelia, who was holding the flame god sword, the skeleton king, lion, didn't dare to hesitate and turned to run towards the bone palace behind him. At this moment, the skeleton king's dignity no longer mattered. Escaping was the most important thing. But at this moment, a brilliant holy light enveloped it. You're using this move again. Impossible. This time, I was prepared. The skeleton king, lion, immediately entered a berserk state. A huge power of death surged out from its soul fire, instantly filling its entire skeletal body. At this moment, it felt full of power. Its speed also suddenly erupted. In the next second, it actually crossed dozens of meters, as fast as instant movement. But then, the skeleton king, lion, became confused again. Because that brilliant holy light didn't play fair, it actually moved dozens of meters along with him. Its figure had just stabilized, and the holy light firmly enveloped it. Imprisoned once again, and this time, it didn't let its guard down and dodged. But it still couldn't dodge. The skeleton king, lion, felt hopeless. Its 2-3-meter-long great axes hadn't even struck once, which was a very tragic thing. Angel, I want to duel you face to face. This is the dignity a king must have. The skeleton king, lion, was furious, staring at Angelia standing in midair. Even the green soul fire spewed out from its two dark eye sockets. Lowly undead creatures don't need dignity. Angelia responded coldly. Under the terrified gaze of the skeleton king, lion, Angelia held the flame sword and stepped forward, her beautiful figure enveloped in a sacred radiance, exuding elegance and nobility from the beginning to the end. She approached. She slowly raised the angel sword in her hand and stabbed directly at the head of the skeleton king, lion. Wait, I have something to say. The skeleton king, lion, screamed in fear. However, Angelia ignored it and pierced its head with one sword. The soul fire in its skull exploded with a loud bang and dissipated. And its just reassembled skeletal body once again disintegrated, turning into a pile of bone fragments on the ground. Angelia stared at the pile of bones for a moment. Then, as if disappointed, she muttered to herself, this time there is no resurrection, but it's normal. After all, it's just a mundane creature, incomparable to a true god. As she spoke, a huge source of energy surged into Angelia's body. Her realm directly advanced from level 9 mid-stage to level 9 late stage. But it didn't stop there. Because the level of the skeleton king, lion, was too high, reaching king level late stage. The source energy reward Angelia received for single-handedly killing it was astonishing. Soon, a golden light phenomenon appeared on her body. When the golden light dissipated, Angelia's level had already entered king level early stage. Once entering king level, one could be called a strong individual. However, there was hardly any change in the expression on Angelia's beautiful face. She calmly picked up the gold coins and a black gold belt that had fallen from the skeleton king, lion, and turned to leave. From beginning to end, the skeleton king, lion, seemed like nothing more than a lowly undead creature in her eyes. If it weren't for the sake of becoming stronger as soon as possible, she wouldn't even want to personally take action. Just as Angelia said, she wasn't interested in killing. Because that was supposed to be the job of the Angel Legion. Judgment of Faith. A massive golden sword fell from the void. Radiant and holy, like a sacred cross. In an instant, the sword pierced through the body of a zombie overlord. This was a high-level zombie at the mid-9th stage, a boss of the overlord level, yet it was killed by the sword without even a scream. Immediately after, the golden sword transformed into blazing angelic flames, reducing the decaying corpse of the zombie overlord to ashes. At the same time, a more powerful aura emerged from within the six-winged angel of strength, Rain. She leveled up. This was the 15th level 9 undead she had personally slain. When she killed the 5th level 9 undead, she advanced from the early to the mid-9th stage. Afterward, she continued to slay 10 more level 9 undead, breaking through to the late 9th stage. Just one step away from advancing to the king level. Not only Rain, but also the four-winged Grand Angel, Elena, and the two-winged angel, Ida and Sally, had made great gains. The number of level 9 undead they had collectively slain exceeded 10. Their levels had all reached the mid-9th stage. All three of them had greatly increased in strength. On the other side, in a larger battlefield area, nearly 1,000 angels, led by a dozen four-winged angels, continuously attacked the camp of the Undead Legion. This was the main force of the burial ground. Every undead creature in the Legion was an elite. The lowest level among them was level 5. The overall strength of the Legion was extremely powerful. However, for the Angel Legion, such enemies were not unbeatable. It was just a matter of consuming more time and gradually eliminating them. And as the battle continued and more elite undead fell at the hands of the angels, angels began to ascend to higher levels one after another, gaining even more powerful abilities. The overall strength of the Angel Legion was continuously increasing. In contrast, the elite Undead Legion was rapidly weakening. Their numbers were also shrinking. Undead creatures continued to charge down from the 3 bone mountains around, their numbers were very large. However, no matter how many there were, it was useless. Because these were all weak ordinary undead. A single holy light could easily kill a large group of them. They posed no threat to the Angel Legion on the battlefield, instead, they were just here to provide experience. The heroic death of the Skeleton King, Lane, had a significant impact on the morale of the undead. After all, Lane was their king. When the king died, how could morale not be affected? Only the ordinary undead creatures continued to charge into the battlefield, while the elite undead on the battlefield were already finding ways to escape. As a result, their legion camp quickly collapsed. Looking down from above, it was clear that wherever the Angel Legion advanced, the elite undead in that area would retreat in a frenzy, and those who were slow were all purified by the holy light. The 18 angel squads had turned into 18 holy swords. Wherever they struck, the undead fell in droves. This was originally supposed to be a protracted battle, but with the fall of the Skeleton King, it turned into a large-scale pursuit. Especially when they saw the level 9 undead overlords being slain one after another, the morale of the elite undead legion became even lower, and they no longer had the courage to counterattack. On the battlefield, a large number of elite undead were fleeing, scattering in all directions towards the various exits of the burial ground. And this also meant the complete collapse of the Undead Legion's camp. Even if the Skeleton King, Lane, were to come back to life, it would be difficult to regroup. Angelia, the 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, came to Angelia's side and said, "The level 9 undead in the burial ground have been mostly eliminated, only 2 undead managed to escape. I have sent Elena and Ida to pursue them." Angelia did not respond to this. She simply said, "Have the Angel Legion end the battle as soon as possible, and then return to the surface world." Okay, 6-winged angel of strength, Rain, nodded. Immediately, she personally rushed into the battlefield area, wielding the angel's sword to slaughter in all directions. As a level 9 late-stage powerhouse, Rain was truly invincible on such a battlefield, with no undead creature able to withstand her attacks. Instead, every one of her attacks could instantly kill groups of undead. Under Rain's leadership, the speed of the Angel Legion's extermination also increased. The number of undead creatures in the basin visibly decreased at a rapid pace. As for Angelia, she appeared hundreds of meters in the air. She fully released her consciousness, surveying the surrounding areas. If any strong enemies approached, she would detect them immediately. Currently, there was only this one Angel Legion under the Lord of Holy Light. No accidents could be allowed. Otherwise, the losses would be great. After all, even if angels could be resurrected, it would still require half of their gold coins. At this moment, several thousand kilometers away from the burial ground, 2 figures were sprinting at high speed. In the blink of an eye, they were only 100 meters away, moving incredibly fast. These 2 figures were the Skeleton Mage and the Giant Bear Skeleton Knight under the command of the Skeleton King, Lane. They were more intelligent than other high-level undead. When they sensed that something was wrong, they immediately moved towards the exit of the burial ground. Sure enough, their intuition was correct. Their Skeleton King had been killed twice in an instant. The group of level 9 overlords, who were at the same level, were also wiped out in the blink of an eye. So, They ran away. The skeleton knight complained, I said we should have moved, but His Majesty didn't listen to me. Now, His Majesty is dead, and we have no home. The skeleton mage rolled its eyes. But it wasn't in the mood to argue with the skeleton knight right now. Once again, it waved the bone staff in its hand, infusing the power of the spell gale into itself and the skeleton knight, in order to increase their escape speed. As for the skeletal giant bear under the skeleton knight, in order to buy them both a chance to escape, it had long been cut into bone fragments by the angels. Don't waste time, run. The wind elemental magic power stored in the magic gem is running low. If those glowing winged people find us, we're dead. The skeleton mage was a wind elemental mage in its previous life. Even after death, it hadn't forgotten the elemental magic it once mastered. Coupled with the unexpected acquisition of a wind elemental magic gem, it could barely release the spell gale in its undead form. In the undead world, it was quite a rarity. Got it. The skeleton knight pulled the skeleton mage and ran with all its might. After running for who knows how long, it finally looked back. With just one glance, it was scared to the point where its soul fire almost shattered. Because in the sky behind them, there were two holy figures chasing after them, getting closer and closer. Mage, they're catching up. I see. The skeleton mage seemed relatively calm, and without hesitation, it released all the wind elemental power stored in the magic gem, condensing it into multiple gale spells, all of which were cast on itself. This caused its speed to instantly skyrocket. Leaving the skeleton knight behind, it ran ahead. Seeing this scene, the skeleton knight couldn't help but exclaim, Mage, you have no loyalty. ... Not long after, the two undead escaped several thousand meters again. Just as they were about to be caught up by the two beautiful figures in the sky, they suddenly discovered a large group of figures appearing to their left front. Each one of them was fully armed and imposing. You fools, we're saved. It's the Dark Elf Legion. The skeleton mage and the skeleton knight were overjoyed. Without hesitation, they rushed towards the Dark Elf Legion. However, what awaited them were arrows piercing through the air. The Dark Elf Legion, which came as reinforcements, appeared for the first time. The skeleton mage and skeleton knight were pleasantly surprised. But the next second, they were dumbfounded. Without giving them time to react, a dense barrage of elven arrows came flying, instantly turning them into hedgehogs. Fortunately, they were undead of the skeleton race. If they were zombies or ghouls, this round of attacks would have taken their lives. I knew this unreliable dark elf tribe couldn't be trusted. The skeleton mage was so angry that even its mental thoughts were trembling. The skeleton knight following behind was also pierced by dozens of elven arrows, causing it to stop in panic, no longer daring to move forward. Now hearing the skeleton mage's angry curses, it reflexively retorted, Mage, it was you who suggested to His Majesty to ally with the Dark Elf tribe in the first place. ... The skeleton mage fell silent immediately. Then, without hesitation, it fled in another direction. There were pursuers behind, death if it stopped. There were dark elves blocking the way ahead, still in danger if it continued forward. It could only choose another escape route and hope that the two angels chasing behind would be attracted by the Dark Elf Legion, giving it a chance to escape. The skeleton knight followed closely behind, saying as it ran, Mage, do you think we look like a pair of dogs on the run now? ... The skeleton mage was filled with question marks. It swore that if it could successfully save its own life this time, it would definitely part ways with the skeleton knight. This idiot, it had long been fed up. ... The skeleton mage's expectations were not wrong. The four-winged Grand Angel Elena and Iada, who were chasing after them, were indeed attracted by the Dark Elf Legion. But unfortunately, the two angels had no intention of letting the skeleton mage and skeleton knight go. To the angels, evil undead creatures should be thoroughly purified. If even one or two escaped, it would be irresponsible for their work. So, they died. Under the gaze of the Dark Elf Legion, the two angels descended from the sky and intercepted the skeleton mage and skeleton knight, who had already been turned into hedgehogs by arrows. One trapped them with holy light. The other killed them with a divine sword. Finally, they threw a ball of angelic holy flame, reducing their bodies to ashes. The battle from start to finish lasted no more than 10 seconds. Picking up the items dropped by the two undead, the four-winged Grand Angel Elena and Iada turned their gaze towards the Dark Elf Legion, which had stopped in the distance. Both pairs of golden eyes were filled with indifference. Iada said, "These are a group of heretics living in the underground world." Four-winged Grand Angel Elena nodded slightly and said, "They are fallen nature spirits, once followers of the goddesses of nature and elves, but they were eventually tempted by evil forces and became dark elves." Iada glanced at Elena and said, "These dark elves seem to be hostile towards us. Whether they are hostile or not doesn't matter." Radiant light emanated from the top of the staff, reflecting the incredibly pure and beautiful face of four-winged Grand Angel Elena. She said, "All heretics should be given a chance at redemption. Angels have two general ways of redeeming heretics. One is to redeem their souls and bodies. The other is to simply redeem their souls." After a moment's pause, Elena said again, "I have already informed Lady Angelia and Lord Rain. The Angel Legion will arrive later." "Okay." Iada nodded. Then, the two angels flapped their snow-white wings and flew straight into the sky. They did not leave, but instead hovered hundreds of meters above, overlooking the Dark Elf Legion below. As the rulers of the sky, the angelic race had a natural advantage when facing ground creatures. This advantage would continue until the transcendent level. Because generally speaking, creatures only gain the ability to fly when they reach the transcendent level. Elder. Those two are the creatures under the overlord from another world. I saw it. The Dark Elf Elder nodded slightly. A hint of seriousness and shock appeared on her delicate cheeks. Two mid-level 9th grade. Radiant winged humans almost crushed two late-stage 9th grade overlord level undead with their overwhelming power, which shocked her. If it weren't for being able to clearly sense the magical fluctuations of the two radiant winged humans. She even suspected that they were both king-level powerhouses. They are not of the winged race. But what race they are from, we cannot determine. We have never seen them before. The elder Dark Elf looked up at Elena and Sally standing tall in the sky, and said with some envy, setting aside their racial power, "These beings are truly beautiful in appearance." Elves, after all, are a highly intelligent race that combines bloodline and beauty. But the elder Dark Elf felt that in the presence of such beautiful beings, their own elves seemed to have no advantage at all. Just at this moment, the expression of the elder Dark Elf suddenly changed. She seemed to have thought of something. Quickly gave the order for the Legion to retreat. Beside her, a 9th grade Dark Elf asked in confusion, "Elder, are we not going to the burial ground?" They had come specifically to take advantage of the situation. Now that the burial ground was right in front of them, why were they suddenly retreating? No time to explain. Retreat first. The elder Dark Elf seemed very anxious, her face changing. Seeing this, the Dark Elves dared not ask any more questions, and the rear camp became the vanguard, quickly retreating towards the tribe. They're retreating. In the sky, four-winged Grand Angel Elena looked at the suddenly retreating Dark Elf Legion, somewhat surprised. Iada asked beside her, "Lady Elena, should we follow them?" "Of course." Elena nodded and said, "Since these Dark Elves dare to appear in front of us, they shouldn't expect to leave intact. In fact, with the strength of the two of them, they could easily cause chaos in the Dark Elf Legion. But that wouldn't make much sense. After all, with a total of 3,000 Dark Elves, it would be difficult to capture them all. Acting rashly would allow many Dark Elves to escape. So what they needed to do now was to wait for the Angel Legion to arrive. Then they could wipe out this Dark Elf Legion." Without saying anything more, the two angels flapped their snow-white wings and followed behind the Dark Elf Legion at a steady pace. In the dim environment, the figures of the Dark Elves were agile like leopards. Like shadows in the darkness, they had already disappeared in the blink of an eye. However, the elder Dark Elf soon discovered that the two radiant winged humans in the sky did not move away from them, but instead followed closely. This made her feel a strong sense of unease. We're in big trouble. Shira, lead a team and take the back road back to the tribe. Tell the chief that we have encountered a very formidable enemy, and ask the chief to make a decision. I will try to buy time for the chief with the Legion. Quote? Shira, a 9th grade Dark Elf, was immediately stunned. "Elder, I don't understand. Skeleton King Lane has most likely fallen." The elder Dark Elf interrupted Shira and quickly explained, the two skeleton undead that died just now were followers of Skeleton King Lane. They both escaped from the burial ground, and the meaning behind it is self-evident. I suspect that not only has Skeleton King Lane fallen, but the entire burial ground may have been completely occupied. The war is almost over. The two winged beings have been following us, waiting for the legion behind them. Once their legion gathers, we will be in big trouble. A legion that can capture the burial ground in a short period of time is something they cannot resist. Elder, Dark Elf Shira hesitated and said, could it be that the enemy's legion has already suffered heavy losses in the war? The two radiant winged humans have been following us, just to deceive us and prevent us from approaching the burial ground. The Elder Dark Elf said, there is a possibility, but we cannot gamble on it. If we lose the gamble, it will be a disaster for the tribe. I understand. Dark Elf Shira dared not say anything more and immediately led a team of Dark Elves to separate from the legion, taking the back road back to the tribe to report to their chief, Doris. In another direction, the darkness in the sky was dispelled by the holy light. There was a holy light shining in the sky. Looking up, under the cover of that holy light, there was a vast angel legion. Each beautiful and pure figure held a golden flame-burning angel sword. Under the command of six-winged angel of strength Rain, the angels charged straight towards the fleeing Dark Elf Legion. Elder, the enemy legion is chasing us. The Elder of the Dark Elves turned around and instantly felt a tingling sensation on her scalp. Her beautiful face turned pale with fright. At this moment, the horizon behind them was already illuminated by dazzling holy light, and the surging waves of divine and radiant magic power reached their peak. Although the enemy legion was not large in number, their momentum was incredibly strong. Each one was enveloped in holy light, wielding flaming divine swords. Their unified silver-white armor, the radiant white wings filled with divine radiance, their proud posture, and exquisite features. They looked like the legendary beings of the divine realm, noble and untouchable. Just in terms of momentum, they completely overwhelmed her Dark Elf Legion. There was no need for battle. Her intuition already told her that her Dark Elf Legion was definitely no match. My intuition was correct. The enemy legion has indeed captured the burial ground. Skeleton King Ryan has also fallen in battle. She didn't take a gamble earlier, and that was a very correct choice. But it seemed to be of no use. Because the enemy legion was extremely dominant, not giving them a chance to retreat. As soon as they were discovered, they immediately gathered their forces and attacked. How could those on the ground outrun those flying in the sky? It wouldn't be long before her legion was caught up by the enemy. War was inevitable. At this moment, the Elder of the Dark Elves seemed to see something, and her beautiful face instantly changed. She blurted out, there's a king-level powerhouse among them. What kind of otherworldly overlord is that? In just a few days, they have actually cultivated a king-level unit. The Elder of the Dark Elves turned pale, filled with fear. She saw Angelia flying higher in the angelic army, her expression filled with horror. She finally understood why Skeleton King Ryan had died. Previously, she witnessed two mid-ninth stage, radiant winged humans, killing two late ninth stage undead overlords in an instant. This meant that these, radiant winged humans, possessed unimaginable combat power. Now, a king-level, radiant winged human, appeared in the enemy legion. So killing Skeleton King Ryan was not impossible. And the most crucial point. As the commander of the Dark Elf Legion, she was only at the late ninth stage. There were no king-level powerhouses in their legion. Once the battle started, how could they resist the king-level powerhouse of the enemy legion? It seemed that there was no way. After all, she did not possess the ability to fight beyond her level. The worst result would be the complete annihilation of the entire legion by the enemy. We can't keep running like this. Our speed is far inferior to those radiant winged humans. In no more than 5 minutes, they will catch up to us. Elder, what should we do then? A high-level dark elf quickly asked, then tightened her grip on the elf longsword and gritted her teeth, saying, if it comes to it, let's stop running. Form a defensive line and fight them. Yes, Elder, instead of wasting energy while fleeing, it's better to fight them head-on. Other high-level dark elves also spoke up. They wore black tight leather armor and shorts, and their weapons varied. There were longswords, bows and arrows, daggers, and even staffs. But they were all standardized. All of them were elven equipment that matched the elven elemental style. One thing that could be confirmed was that there was a blacksmith in this dark elf tribe, and they were an extremely skilled elven blacksmith. If Lin Yu knew, he would definitely be overjoyed. His territory was most lacking in blacksmiths. Especially renowned equipment masters like elven blacksmiths, he liked them the most. Fighting desperately is meaningless. It will only lead our legion into an inescapable myriad tribulations. The elder of the dark elves bit his silver teeth, revealing a sharp tooth on each side of his blood-red mouth. This is one of the signs of the dark elves' fallen state. Disperse. The legion will break up and each team will retreat. This is a very cruel order, because it means that a part of the elf teams will definitely be caught up by the enemy. You see, the enemy is creatures of the light camp, and they are enemies of the dark elves who belong to the evil and dark camp. Once they fall into the hands of the enemy, their fate can be imagined. However, the elder of the dark elves had no choice but to do this. Because if the entire legion is surrounded by the enemy, more dark elves will be sacrificed. Scattering and fleeing still gives hope of preserving most of their strength. This is sacrificing the individual for the greater good. And, this is fair to all dark elves. No one knows which team the enemy will pursue. Whether they can escape or not depends on luck. Yes, elder. The high-level dark elves also responded one after another. This is a wise decision, and they have no reason to oppose it. Soon, the order was passed down. The huge army of dark elves quickly dispersed. 3,000 dark elves split into one team after another, fleeing in different directions. Looking down from high above, the legion of dark elves, which has broken up, is like a slowly opening black fan, extending and spreading towards the dim world ahead. This scene exudes a sense of beauty in the darkness. Sly heretics. In the sky hundreds of meters behind, flying at the forefront of the angel legion, the six-winged angel of strength, Rain, was the first to notice the abnormality of the dark elf legion. She held the flaming angel sword and pointed forward. Angel legion, split up and pursue. Capture these fallen nature spirits at the fastest speed. They need the redemption of the holy light. Yes, Commander. The mighty angel legion also quickly dispersed, turning into more than a dozen organized angel squads in the blink of an eye. Each angel squad is led by a four-winged angel. They each pursued different dark elf teams. Due to the difference in numbers, it is difficult for the angels to eliminate all the dark elf teams. But this doesn't matter, as long as they can capture most of the dark elves. Moreover, even if many dark elves escape, where can they escape to? They can only return to their tribes and seek the protection of their tribal chiefs. At that time, they can still be wiped out in one fell swoop. A few minutes later, the first unlucky dark elf team was caught up. And leading the angel squad was the four-winged angel, Maddie. Her level has reached level 8 late stage, only one step away from advancing to level 9. Fallen nature spirits, my lord is merciful and gives you a chance for self-redemption. Put down your weapons, and you will receive merciful forgiveness. Led by four-winged angel Maddie, dozens of angels holding flaming divine swords dispersed in midair, surrounding a group of dark elves on the ground. They did not take action immediately, because they received orders. In the current situation where the Lord of Holy Light is extremely lacking in believers, every heretic should be given a chance to be forgiven, including these dark elves belonging to the evil camp. The divine radiance can purify all evil souls. Dark elves can also embrace the light. However, the surrounded dark elves were unwilling to surrender. Especially the dark elf hunters, their first reaction was to launch an attack towards the angels standing in the air. Arrows from the elves shot through the air. Like auroras in the darkness, their speed was so fast that they were barely visible to the naked eye. Ignorant and fearless dark elves. Four-winged angel Maddie swung her angelic sword, instantly slashing and exploding several arrows that flew towards her, and coldly gave orders. Reject the redemption of the holy light, kill. Swish, swish, swish. Dozens of angels turned into streaks of white light, instantly killing the dark elves on the ground. The dark elves reacted quickly. They immediately counterattacked. Some elf hunters continuously shot arrows from their fingertips. Some elf swordsmen slashed cold sword lights towards the sky. And some elf assassins disappeared directly in place, looking for opportunities to assassinate the angels. Dark elves were like shadows walking in the night. Especially those dark elf assassins, their stealth ability was extremely abnormal. Even professionals one level higher than them found it difficult to detect them in their invisible state. Relying on this ability, Dark Elf assassins were also known as one of the top assassins in the transcendent world. They could rival the ghost assassins of the undead race. Unfortunately, this time their opponents were angels. The angels shook their snow-white wings behind them, releasing one blazing sea of fire after another, directly forcing the hidden Dark Elf assassins to retreat. The holy flames of the angels not only melted gold and iron. They also possessed the power to purify evil. This caused the Dark Elf assassins to not dare to approach. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Four-Winged Angel Maddie led a group of angels to besiege the Dark Elves of other professions. Accompanied by dazzling sword lights illuminating the darkness. Suddenly, Dark Elves fell in pools of blood. Several Dark Elf swordsmen tried to confront the angels head-on, but they were killed in the clash of swords. The elf longswords in their hands were all cut off by the angelic swords. In a short moment, there were more than a dozen Dark Elf bodies on the ground. Proud figures, snow-white skin, delicate faces, and glaring blood, interwoven into a bloody yet beautiful picture. At the same time, in other areas, more than a dozen Dark Elf squads were being chased by the angelic team. Within a radius of thousands of meters, battles were erupting everywhere. No Dark Elves surrendered. All the Dark Elves being chased had a death wish. Because they knew that the longer they persisted, the more time their other kin would have to escape and the more chances they would have to return to their tribe. Surrender. Such sacrifices are meaningless. A beautiful and holy figure stood in front of a group of Dark Elves. She was alone, but she made this group of Dark Elves feel like they were facing a formidable enemy. Among them, there was even a level 9 high-level Dark Elf, who also had a serious expression. She tightly gripped her elf longsword, not daring to be careless. Because the figure in front of them had easily imprisoned 2 level 9 late-stage undead overlords in the previous battle. Her magical power was terrifyingly strong. And she was Four-Winged Grand Angel Elena. Elena said indifferently, "The bloodline of the elven race is not weak. Although you are fallen elves, you also have the qualifications to become followers of our Lord. Believe in the great Lord of Holy Light, and you will receive true redemption." Hearing this, the high-level Dark Elf leading this squad stepped forward, staring at Elena, who was enveloped in divine radiance, with her dark red eyes. She mockingly said, "But we are Dark Elves. Would your bright Lord be willing to accept a group of despised evil creatures?" Elena nodded slightly and said, "Lord of Holy Light, any intelligent race, as long as they are willing to believe in our Lord, can receive redemption and protection, except for the undead. The undead are completely black from head to toe. Even the Holy Light cannot convert them." Upon hearing this, the expression of the high-level Dark Elf slightly froze. She suspected that Elena was deceiving her. Because creatures of the light camp and creatures of the evil and dark camp are mortal enemies. Even the elven race despises them, considering them a disgrace to the elven race, and has expelled all Dark Elves to the underground world. Not to mention the hostile light camp. Whenever they meet, it's either you die or I die. Now, this beautiful and holy, radiant winged person, in front of her actually claimed that the Lord of Holy Light was willing to accept them, the Dark Elves. This made her somewhat incredulous. If this is true, how good would it be? No matter whether the Lord of Holy Light is the God of Light or the evil God, at least our Dark Elves can be recognized and finally have someone willing to protect us. Such thoughts appeared in the mind of the high-level Dark Elf. But the next moment, she discarded them. Because she didn't believe Elena's words. Once, the Dark Goddess who belonged to the evil camp also protected them, but in the end, she abandoned them. For this, the Dark Elf race paid a great price. Since then, the Dark Elf race no longer believes in any gods. Nor do they easily trust any promises from deities. The high-level Dark Elf tightly grasped the long sword in her hand and coldly stared at Elena, saying, "Your words can only deceive those weak cave dwarves, not us Dark Elves." Elena frowned and muttered to herself, "It seems that purification of the soul is still needed. If it were creatures of the light camp, it wouldn't be so troublesome. The creatures of the light are born to be followers of their Lord of Holy Light. Attack!" At this moment, the high-level Dark Elf suddenly shouted. Instantly, gray shadows appeared around Elena, and the black daggers in their hands instantly stabbed towards Elena. However, Elena seemed to be prepared in advance. She turned into white light and disappeared. Only a residual image remained in place, pierced by those daggers. The Lord says, "The holy radiance illuminates the world. The evil creatures in the shadows cannot hide." The holy radiance poured down, and a group of invisible dark elf assassins were all revealed. At the same time, the four-winged Grand Archangel Elena, who had already appeared in the sky, raised her staff again and waved, casting a brilliant holy light. Lord of holy light, redeem humanity. Humanity should believe in and respect the Lord, the highest Lord, who created the light and banished eternal darkness. Lord of holy light, full of love and selflessness, humanity should pray to the Lord and seek the Lord's protection. Accompanied by Elena's murmurs, the brilliant holy light condensed into a dense rain of light. All the dark elves present were enveloped. Some quick-reacting dark elves immediately tried to escape from the area covered by the rain of light. They didn't know what this light rain was, but they knew it couldn't be something good. Unfortunately, they couldn't escape at all, because the rain of light is just a manifestation of the faith magic. And the power of faith magic from Elena had already merged into their bodies and souls during the casting process. Soon, the expressions of all the dark elves present twisted. There was pain and struggle. It wasn't until half a minute later that the dark elves returned to normal. At the same time, they put away their weapons and knelt on the ground, praising the great Lord of Holy Light in unison. "Go, pursue those fleeing dark elves. Tell them not to resist. Lord of Holy Light is here to protect them, not to harm them. Believe in the Holy Light. This is the starting point for the revival of the dark elf race." "Yes, Your Excellency." The dark elves quickly got up, turned into dark shadows, and disappeared into the distance. Similar scenes also appeared in other regions. Dark elves were continuously being purified. Some required war, some did not. For example, the dark elf squad intercepted by four-winged Grand Angel Aisha and Anna. Like Elena, they mastered the art of faith magic. One after another, the art of faith magic struck, and the dark elves immediately knelt and embraced the light. The entire pursuit and suppression operation lasted for over an hour before it ended. Nearly half of the dark elf squads were successfully intercepted by the angelic team, while the other dark elves successfully escaped into the dark world, leaving no trace. There was no way to prevent this. The angels were not familiar with the underground world. Coupled with various obstacles and a dim environment, it was difficult to track those dark elves who were like elusive shadows. However, even so, the harvest was already significant. According to post-war statistics, about 1,000 dark elves were successfully captured. Some were conquered by force and then forcibly purified with the angelic holy flame, while others were directly taken away by the art of faith magic. It must be said that the art of faith magic was truly extraordinary. Among the 1,000 captured dark elves, about 2/5 were captured by Elena, Aisha, and Anna using the art of faith magic. The rest were the spoils of various angelic teams. The only regret was that there were too few angels under Linyu who possessed the art of faith magic. If there were dozens of angels with the art of faith magic, not a single one of the 3,000 dark elves would have escaped. Another half hour passed. The angelic legion, along with the dark elf followers, gathered at the exit of the underground passage. 938 angels. 975 dark elf followers. Just the capture of these dark elf followers was a huge gain. It's a pity, over 1,000 dark elves still managed to escape. Six-winged angel of strength Rain stepped forward, walking through the air. Behind her followed a group of obedient dark elves. Leading them was the elder of the dark elves at the late stage of the 9th level. Her face was pale, blood trickling from the corners of her mouth, clearly beaten and conquered by six-winged angel of strength Rain using force. Angelia calmly said, "It doesn't matter, they will eventually escape back to their tribe. Give them half an hour to escape, and after half an hour, march towards the dark elf tribe." "All right, Angelia." Six-winged angel of strength Rain nodded. At this moment, another group of angels flew over and handed a pile of spoils to Angelia. Most of these spoils came from the burial ground. There were nearly 20,000 gold coins alone. In addition, there were a large number of equipment, blueprints, and so on. The harvest was enormous. Six-winged angel of strength Rain asked, "Should we send these spoils back to the territory and hand them over to our lord? After all, it's inconvenient to carry them around." Not for now. Angelia waved her hand and said, wait until we capture the Dark Elf tribe later, then we'll send them back together. As she spoke, a black and gold belt suddenly appeared in her hand. The belt was about 7 centimeters wide and less than a meter long, with various mysterious runes and flowing lights shimmering on it, giving it a very high-grade appearance. This equipment was dropped by Angelia after killing the skeleton king Lane. Angelia first tied the belt around her waist, then waved her right hand lightly, and the pile of spoils handed over by the angels instantly disappeared. This is space equipment. Six-winged angel of strength Rain showed a hint of surprise. Considering the extremely low drop rate of equipment on the floating island, it was very lucky to obtain a special piece of space equipment. Angelia nodded slightly and said, a king-level quality equipment. Although it doesn't match our lord, it can still be used for now. When we go to the Myriad Worlds battlefield in the future and kill a group of true gods, we can then drop a divine weapon-level space equipment for our lord. Six-winged angel of strength Rain smiled and said, at that time, our lord will definitely be very happy. Angelia said solemnly, serving the Lord of Holy Light is our duty. Praise the Holy Light. May the Holy Lord be eternal. Six-winged angel of strength Rain also immediately prayed with a solemn expression. Several tens of kilometers away. Tribe of the Dark Elves. Intermittently, Dark Elves with hurried expressions returned to the tribe. The guards of the tribe saw this scene, and their faces became increasingly grim. Because so far, only about 1,000 Dark Elves had returned to the tribe. It should be noted that their legion had a total of 3,000 members. The burial ground had been captured. The Dark Elf Legion was attacked. These news had already reached the tribe an hour ago. The longer the time passed, the more likely it was that the Dark Elves who had not yet returned to the tribe would encounter unforeseen events. Even powerful beings like the Skeleton King, Lane, who is at the king-level late stage, died at the hands of the enemy. I wonder how the elders are doing. I hope they are safe. The Dark Elf guards of the tribe anxiously discussed. But besides silently praying for the Dark Elves of the Legion, there was nothing else they could do. Looking around, the tribe was filled with layered buildings. All of them were made of black wood. Each building was engraved with many patterns of the elven race. Flowers, plants, and decorations with elven style could be seen everywhere. Even though they were fallen elves, rejected and expelled by the mainstream nature elves of the surface world, the Dark Elves had not forgotten the elven heritage. However, the most prominent feature of the entire Dark Elf tribe was a giant tree that reached hundreds of meters in height. The giant tree was located in the center of the tribe. With lush branches and leaves, it looked like a canopy, covering the entire Dark Elf tribe. Upon closer inspection, one would find large black fruits hanging from the branches of this giant tree, emitting a faint red light. Underneath the giant tree, a group of young Dark Elves gathered. They were all delicate and fair-skinned, looking as cute as porcelain dolls. As Dark Elves, they also had dark red eyes, and occasionally, small fangs would appear on both sides of their small mouths. If they were to have a pair of bat wings, they would probably be no different from the legendary little demons. And this giant tree was the lifeblood of the Dark Elf tribe, as well as the hope passed down by the tribe, the Dark Elf Mother Tree. Similar to the nature elves of the surface world, Dark Elves did not rely on reproduction to pass on their bloodline, although the elves were not lacking in related functions. All elves came from the Elf Mother Tree. They were the fruit of the Elf Mother Tree. At birth, they were small elves in the shape of light spheres, then they grew into young elves, and finally became adult elves like the elder Dark Elves. In the hearts of the elves, the Elf Mother Tree was their mother. As long as the Elf Mother Tree did not wither or die, the elven race could perpetuate forever. And this was the unique way of inheritance that the nature and elven goddess bestowed upon the elven race when they created them. It is said that this was because the nature and elven goddess abhorred male creatures. So they simply created the Elf Mother Tree to breed the elves. Who knows if this is true or not? Shift the focus to the meeting hall of the Dark Elf tribe. At this moment, dozens of powerful Dark Elves with strong auras had gathered in the spacious hall, each with exquisite and charming appearances. Most of them were at the 9th level, and among them, there were 2 king-level Dark Elves. One was Doris, the chief of the Dark Elf tribe, at the king-level late stage. The other was the Grand Elder of the tribe, at the king-level mid-stage. The Dark Elf tribe had 2 king-level powerhouses, a secret that even the Skeleton King, Lane, did not know. Chief. The fact that the enemy was able to capture the burial ground and kill the Skeleton King, Lane, in a short period of time shows that their strength is very powerful. We should not engage them in the wilderness. I suggest gathering our forces and defending the tribe. Under the protection of our mother, we will fight to the death against the enemy legion. These words came from the Grand Elder of the Dark Elves. She had a beautiful appearance, bright eyes, and white teeth. She had a tall figure with a well-endowed chest and curvy hips. Her slender right fingertip held a magic staff. She wore a black and gold magic gown with countless runes engraved on it. At first glance, she looked like a sister to Doris, the elven chief, in a black, sheer, and hot gown. Her name was Carol, a dark elf elemental mage. The elder has a point. The tribe is our home ground, where we can unleash our strongest combat power. A high-ranking member of the tribe spoke up. In the worst-case scenario, we can still request the intervention of the Mother Goddess. Once we leave the tribe, it will be difficult for her to protect us. That's right. Other high-ranking members of the tribe expressed their agreement. In the entire Dark Elf tribe, the most powerful entity is not the elder, nor the chieftain, Doris, but their mother, the Dark Elf Mother Tree. The Mother Tree is the last line of defense for the Dark Elf tribe. At this moment, another high-ranking member of the tribe said, "Are we just going to abandon the legion that went out to battle, and our fellow tribesmen? So far, we still have at least 2,000 tribesmen who have not returned to the tribe." Upon hearing this, all the powerful Dark Elves fell silent. When all the Dark Elves in their tribe were added up, they didn't even reach 7,000. Losing over 2,000 Dark Elves in an instant was a huge blow to the Dark Elf tribe. After a long time, a high-ranking member of the tribe said, "It's not necessarily that all those tribesmen have encountered misfortune. Perhaps some of them have successfully escaped and are on their way back to the tribe." "That's not the point," another high-ranking member of the tribe retorted. "The point is, how do we rescue them? If we choose to defend the tribe, it means abandoning them and leaving their fate in the hands of those terrible enemies." Now, all the Dark Elves fell silent, including Elder Carol, who had just suggested defending and counter-attacking within the tribe. Sighs filled the hall. At this moment, the mood of the elves was extremely heavy. No one wanted to leave those Dark Elves who were still on the run without rescue, but once they left the tribe's home ground, the entire tribe could be endangered. This was a difficult decision to make. Finally, the high-ranking elves all turned their gaze to Chief Doris, who was sitting on the throne in the hall. This Dark Elf chieftain no longer had the charm and allure she had when she met the Skeleton King, Ryan, last night. Her delicate and beautiful face was filled with heavy anger. In her heart, there was a raging fury towards the enemy. Especially towards that overlord from another world who had descended upon the surface world. It was that overlord from another world who had dealt a heavy blow to her tribe. If given the chance, she would love to personally kill him. "Chief," Elder Carol asked, "in your opinion, what should we do?" Under the gaze of all the Dark Elves, Chief Doris gritted her teeth and said, "Defend the tribe and avenge the fallen tribesmen." Upon hearing this, Elder Carol immediately breathed a sigh of relief. She was the one who least advocated for engaging in battle with the enemy legion in the outside world. That would only cause the tribe to pay an even more painful price. In the hall, several high-ranking Dark Elves opened their mouths, wanting to persuade Chief Doris, but in the end, they couldn't bring themselves to speak. Because they also knew that this was the most correct decision. Spread the word. Chief Doris quickly gave the order, "Send scouts to monitor the area within 5 kilometers around the tribe. If the enemy legion approaches, report immediately. Also, gather all the great elves of the tribe, prepare for battle against the enemy legion." "Yes, Chief." Doris's orders were quickly conveyed to the entire Dark Elf tribe. Apart from the young elves, all the adult elves sprang into action, gathering and preparing for battle. In addition, on the walls of the Dark Elf tribe, heavy crossbows were being deployed. The Dark Elf tribe did not have magical cannons. These heavy crossbows were their most powerful defensive weapons in war. However, even so, its power far surpasses the arrow towers in Lin Yu's territory. Arrows like these heavy crossbow arrows, which are over 3 meters long, can basically destroy Lin Yu's arrow towers with just one shot, instantly reducing their durability to 0 and causing them to explode. However, since they did not receive the favor of the Floating Island Rule's mother, these heavy crossbow arrows from the Dark Elf tribe cannot attack automatically. Each time an arrow is loaded, it takes a considerable amount of time. Unlike Lin Yu's arrow towers, which can not only attack automatically but also have an endless supply of arrows as long as there is abundant wood and iron ore in the territory. As long as the arrow towers are not completely destroyed, they can continue to attack. This is the rule of the Floating Island. After the departure of the Dark Elf high-level officials from the hall, the elf elder Carol whispered to Doris, "I will go and communicate with the mother. Unless it is absolutely necessary, the mother cannot intervene. Otherwise, regardless of whether the war is won or lost, our tribe will face a disaster." Carol. Doris slowly stood up from the chief's throne. Her snow-white delicate body under the thin black dress was partially hidden and partially revealed. Although important parts were covered by leather armor, it appeared even more hot and alluring. She suddenly opened her slender and tender arms towards the elf elder Carol. Seeing this scene, Carol also naturally walked over and gave Doris a hug. Two beautiful elves embraced each other. The scene was strangely peculiar. Just as the embrace was about to end, Doris's gentle voice sounded in Carol's ear, "If the tribe has no hope, take those little elves and escape through the secret passage. Go to the imperial city of our elven race. Seek the protection of the queen." The dark elf race in the underground world is a very powerful force. Together with the human-faced spider, Cyclops, evil-eye demon, and undead, they rule the underground. The entire dark elf race is composed of a large number of dark elf tribes. And the central location where all the tribes gather is the imperial city of the dark elf race, where the high and mighty dark elf queen resides. Because the war came too fast, the process far exceeded Doris's expectations. Therefore, the dark elf tribe had no time to seek help from the imperial city. After all, the journey was very far. The team sent to seek help probably hasn't reached the imperial city yet, and this war may have already ended. The delicate body under the black magic long dress trembled slightly. Carol took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, we will definitely win this war. Even if I die, I will die with you. I won't let you face danger alone." What nonsense! How could I possibly die at the hands of that mere otherworldly overlord? Doris smiled and said, Doris, am determined to become the demigod of our tribe and ascend to the position of the new queen." As she finished speaking, she gently pushed away the elf elder Carol. "Go, my dear elder. Give my regards to the mother." "All right," Carol nodded with a complicated expression. Then she left the tribal meeting hall. With Carol's departure, the light in the hall seemed to dim. Doris returned to her chief's throne alone, allowing her soft body to lean against it, with countless purple strands of hair slowly falling, partially covering her exquisite and beautiful cheeks. The smile on her face had disappeared. Her expression, like her inner world at this moment, was filled with a hint of loneliness and unease about this war. On the surface, on this side of the territory, Lin Yu is sitting at the entrance of the Hall of the Overlord, basking in the sun. The chair was built by the old goblin, Devon, according to his ideas. It doesn't have any equipment information, but it's very practical. There is a latch on the left armrest. With a gentle press, the seat can be transformed into a recliner, and the overall design is very ergonomic. In short, it is a very successful piece of work. It can be seen that Lin Yu's aura as a professional has become much stronger. Yes, he has leveled up again. Last night, his level was upgraded to level 6 in his sleep. Now, less than 10 hours later, his level has once again increased, crossing multiple small realms and stepping into level 7 as a professional. Level 7 and level 6 are a watershed. A level 6 professional is a middle-level professional. But once you step into level 7, you become a high-level professional. The higher the level of a professional, the more difficult it becomes to level up. But for me, it seems to have no effect at all. On average, I basically level up once a day. Lin Yu knows that this is because the size of the Angel Legion has multiplied, and the number of wild monsters and enemies killed every day has increased exponentially. The more enemies he kills, the more experience he gains. Naturally, the speed of leveling up cannot slow down. Now, the burial ground has been captured, and the skeleton king, Ryan, has been slain by Angelia. This Easter egg that has troubled me for several days has finally been unlocked. This is something that makes Lin Yu very happy. More than 2 hours ago, he received a message from the Myriad World's floating island. The message included the news that his angel legion had captured the burial ground. And it asked him if he wanted to destroy it. Lin Yu's choice was naturally to destroy it. Occupying an undead territory meant nothing to him. It was better to destroy it and turn it into various rewards. As expected, after destroying the burial ground of the Skeleton King, Ryan, Lin Yu obtained some related blueprints and a golden-level stronghold treasure chest. The power of the burial ground was much stronger than that of the Goblin tribe and the Grey Dwarf tribe. Naturally, the level of the stronghold treasure chest obtained was higher. I hope this golden-level stronghold treasure chest can give me some good things. Now, Lin Yu is waiting for the Angel Legion to return from the underground world and bring him the spoils. But in the short term, the Angel Legion is probably unable to come back. The reason is simple. With the help of the information prompt from the Myriad World's floating island, Lin Yu discovered that after capturing the burial ground, the Angel Legion started a fight with the Dark Elves. This surprised him greatly. He didn't expect to encounter Dark Elves on his trip to the underground world. This can be considered an unexpected surprise. With the connection of the faith line, I can sense that the Angel Legion is still staying in the underground world and has no intention of returning to the surface for the time being. In addition, I have gained a large number of followers. These followers are probably the Dark Elves captured by the Angels. Lin Yu is very interested in elves. Although they are not orthodox members of the natural elf clan, the Dark Elves seem to be no worse. After all, they are true elves in the truest sense. And who knows, Dark Elves might be even better at serving people. The Angel Legion is currently attacking the Dark Elf tribe. I believe that a new base attack and defense battle will soon begin. Lin Yu did not force the Angel Legion to come back. Because he believes in the abilities of Angelia and the six-winged angel of strength, Rain. Especially Angelia. Her individual combat power is simply off the charts. During the attack on the burial ground, Angelia single-handedly killed the Skeleton King, Ryan, who was at the king level late stage. Lin Yu believes that Angelia must have reached the king level by now. Because the experience gained from solo kills is the most abundant. The experience given by a king level late stage Skeleton King is enough to raise Angelia's level by another step. Angelia, as a six-winged angel, has a very high status. After reaching the king level, her combat power should be comparable to that of a transcendent professional. With her, the Angel Legion will definitely be able to capture the Dark Elf tribe. After all, with the help of those Dark Elf followers, the Angels are able to thoroughly investigate the information of the Dark Elf tribe. If the Dark Elf tribe harbors a power that threatens the Angel Legion, then Angelia would have already withdrawn to the surface with the Angel Legion. Staying in the underground world indicates that she has enough confidence. Today, it is destined to be a fruitful day. Lin Yu's mood at this moment is quite good. He hummed an off-key tune while browsing the trading platform and island chat channel. Just at this moment, a series of messages suddenly appeared in the island chat channel, catching his attention. Awesome. The boss is awesome. Another Apex level overlord has emerged. Now, Lin Yu, the Great Lord, will no longer dominate the glory contribution ranking alone. Oh my goodness, the village of Serkong Jun, the boss, is actually called Phoenix Village. Could it be that the boss's troops are divine beasts, Phoenix? Impossible, right? Phoenix is a mythical divine beast. How could it become a troop? If Serkong Jun's troops are really Phoenix, other overlords won't stand a chance, including Lin Yu, the Great Lord. Late stage, a dense army of divine beasts, Phoenix, who can compete? Makes sense. By the way, there are people with the surname, C. Idiot upstairs, that's C Kong, a compound surname. Quote. Quote. Don't derail the conversation. I just want to ask, has Serkong, the boss, established an alliance? If so, please post the alliance number on the public screen, thank you. Forget it, I asked earlier. Neither Serkong, the boss, nor Lin Yu, the Great Lord, have established an alliance. Ah, it's frustrating. I'm already tired of the stupid Hall of Kings alliance. Golden Behemoth Overlord. Who the hell are you mocking? The subsequent chat messages were not substantial and became more and more off-topic. Lin Yu didn't bother to read them anymore. He casually opened the Glory Contribution ranking. He could see that the Glory Contribution ranking, which he had previously dominated alone, now had 2 people. Glory Contribution ranking. First place. Lin Yu, Glory Points 800, Occupation, Overlord, no title. Second place. Si Kong Jun, Glory Points 200, Overlord of Phoenix Village, no title. Third place. None. Quote. 100th place. None. At this stage, there are only 2 ways to obtain glory points. One is to capture local strongholds. The other is to be the first to upgrade a territory. The latter was deduced by Lin Yu. He was the first to upgrade the middle-level village and high-level village and received the glory points rewards for both. But when Golden Behemoth Overlord upgraded the middle-level village, he didn't receive any glory points because his name didn't appear on the list. So Lin Yu speculated, for each level of territory, only the first upgrading Overlord can obtain glory points. It has to be said that Myriad World's floating island is quite stingy. But from another perspective, Myriad World's floating island is also encouraging overlords to compete for first place, in order to cultivate the most powerful overlord to become the island lord. In addition, Myriad World's floating island also encourages overlords to attack local strongholds. This method allows them to quickly obtain more glory points. Si Kong Jun must have captured a local stronghold. As for his troops, Overlord of Phoenix Village, could it really be Phoenix? If Phoenix appears, does that mean there will also be Azure Dragon, Black Tortoise, and White Tiger? The style has suddenly changed. Lin Yu murmured to himself. But his intuition told him that it probably has nothing to do with the mythical phoenix. After all, that would be too much. After thinking for a moment, he communicated with Myriad World's floating island to inquire if there is an Apex level troop related to Phoenix in the Transcendent world.